What's happening? I changed the title of the stage. Now it says, Meat should be illegal. Debate a vegan YouTuber. And that's me. Meat should be illegal because animals don't want to die and we don't need to kill them. We don't have any nutritional need to eat the dead bodies of animals or their secretions, like their milk or their eggs, right? So causing them unnecessary suffering and violence and death is not morally acceptable. We wouldn't allow it for humans to needlessly kill a dog just because they get some kind of pleasure out of killing the dog. So just because we get some kind of pleasure out of killing cows, pigs, chickens, and fish, there's no justification to do that. And we already have laws against kicking dogs. Even if you get pleasure out of it, humans are not allowed to kick dogs, at least where I live. And we also have laws against shooting dogs. So if we think it's wrong to kick a dog, and we think it might even be worse to shoot a dog, uh, because it's going to cause, their entire life is taken away from them, right? Like if you kick an animal, they're going to have a bruise, but they'll get over it, right? If you kick them one time. But if you kill them, then even if it's quick and painless, then their whole life is taken away from them, right? So all their friends and family relationships destroyed, all their continued existence, the enjoyment in the future that they would have had if we hadn't murdered them. So in the same ways that we respect that in humans, we should respect that in animals. And I think it's worse to kill somebody than to kick them. And so if we think it's wrong to kick a pig or a chicken or a cow, we should also think that it's even worse to kill a cow, pig, or chicken because they don't want to die and it takes away their whole life.
In my opinion, I would never get pleasure from kicking a dog. I don't get pleasure from I know how animals are brutally murdered. Even though I'm not a vegan, I really just wish the world wasn't really as cruel because I know how the documentaries about stuff. But the thing is that this is how I survive, basically. Meat also has a bit of nutrition in it.
Well, do you have access to plant foods, like a grocery store?
Yeah, I eat vegetables and fruits time to time a bit.
Yeah, so just do more of that because we have no nutritional need to eat meat, dairy, or eggs, and it's actually really bad for your body. I can show you some health statistics if you'd like to see that from scientists.
Would you feed your dog regular dog food, or would you just feed them just plant?
Yeah, so there's vegan dog food and vegan cat food, and the science is
No.
clear that that's nutritionally adequate for animals. Animal rights, that's what veganism is a moral philosophy that then extends to diet and what we wear, and we're not going to go to zoos and circuses where animals are being exploited and stuff like that. But
Yeah, I
um,
really don't like zoos.
and why is that?
Well, it's basically just animals getting removed from their home environment and then being locked in a cage, which just imagine if the roles were reversed, well, if animals were just like humans.
hmm You're using perspective to step outside of yourself and your own group, your own species, and realize, hey,
Yes.
just like if I had been born as a cow, pig, chicken, or fish, I would hope that the humans would be nice to me. And imagine if aliens exist. I don't know if they do or not, but hypothetically, imagine that aliens exist and they happen to be smarter and stronger than humans, and they come here and they start to treat us lower beings the way we treat quote unquote lower beings, animals, right? And so the aliens enslave us, they torture us, they put us in these little cages, they hunt us, they take our babies away from us, they kill our friends in front of us, and then they're coming for us and they got the knife in their hand, right? But they don't have to do this to us.
My opinion,
Hold on, let me just finish this out real quick. They don't have to do this to
yes.
us. They're just choosing to because they like the taste of our flesh. But there's a small group of the aliens in this hypothetical that are vegan aliens, and the vegan aliens are saying to the other aliens who are eating the humans, "Hey guys, why don't we be nice to the humans? Like it doesn't matter that they're not aliens. Like they still feel pain and pleasure, and they want to live. The humans have friends and families that they care about, a future waiting to be enjoyed. It doesn't matter that they weren't born as part of our group. Like, we should just be nice to them anyways, and let's just eat these plants instead. But the other aliens who are eating the humans are laughing at the vegan aliens, saying, why do you care about these stupid humans? They don't matter. They're not smart like us. They're not as strong as us. We're the dominant creature. They're here for our pleasure. But we would be screaming out, this is discrimination. Like, it doesn't matter that we're not the same in the intelligence level as you. This is like ableism, right? Saying, well, we can hurt you because you're not as smart as us. Or this is speciesism, like racism or sexism. The way that the aliens would be discriminating against the humans is speciesism, discrimination based on species. Just like what we do to animals, speciesism, discrimination based on species, where we say be nice to dogs and cats, but cut the heads off of cows, pigs, and chickens, right? But there's no real difference between these animals. They all feel pain and pleasure and they want to live. So we're just drawing this arbitrary line of discrimination when really we should just be nice to everybody regardless of our differences, because our similarities outweigh our differences. It doesn't matter that somebody is a different color than me or a different sex or born in a different nation than me, or if they were born as a different species than me, or if they were mentally disabled human, that they're not as smart as me. None of this stuff matters. What matters is all of these individuals feel pain and pleasure and they want to live, and I ain't got no right to take their life if I don't need to. So by the logic I set up there of like might makes right, right, is basically what meat eaters are saying, is like we have power over these animals. We can do this to them, so we will do this to them, or we should, right? But just because we can hurt somebody doesn't mean we should, right? We have power over children. We have power over a lot of other humans. We have power over dogs and cats, but we don't abuse the power we hold over the weak, or we shouldn't abuse the power we hold over the weak to exploit their vulnerability for our own needless pleasure, right? That's just too selfish for me, right? So I did eat animals for 26 years. I never really thought about it because it's not an issue that's really discussed in society. But back in 2009, I said, you know what? Like, I just made the connection that this is discrimination. I wouldn't treat a dog like this. I actually support legal rights for dogs to be protected from harm. And yet I'm paying someone to stab a cow. Why? What's the difference?
I would prefer them die a bit older than younger.
Yeah, well, the thing is that it's not profitable for the farmer to keep feeding these animals for years and years to let them have a nice, long, happy life. This is a business, and so instead of pouring food costs into this animal, the farmer kills the animal as soon as they reach a certain weight, slaughter weight. So as soon as an animal reaches slaughter weight, it's now profitable to kill them, and it won't be any more profitable if you keep them alive. So they're killed as children. So like the natural lifespan of a pig, just like a dog, is about 12 years old. But pigs are killed when they're only 6 months old, which is like killing a puppy, right? Pigs are as smart as 3-year-old children. They're very social animals. They have friends. A lot of people have pigs as pets. They're very nice to people and other animals and stuff. So, and then the natural lifespan of a cow is 25 years old. But cows are killed when they're only 18 months old, a year and a half old, because that's when they reach slaughter weight. And chickens, so these birds' natural lifespan is 10 years old, but they're killed when they're only 1 month old, because they're bred to grow super big, super fast, so that the farmer can just make as much money as possible. So yeah, we should not be eating baby animals. We should not be eating animals at all, really. But yeah, like look, I had a dog named Enigma. Enigma was this cool pit bull, and we were buddies. And he made it to 14 years old, and then his quality of life deteriorated to the point where his life was no longer worth living. He wasn't having a good time. He couldn't walk. He was vomiting all the time. He couldn't control his bowels, and so I had him euthanized. That's a mercy killing. That's the only way where it's ethical to kill an animal, because to put them out of their suffering. I would want someone to do that for me as well if I was suffering and there was no way to help me. but that's not what's happening to these animals. And I had no desire to like eat my dog after he died. Like I had no need to eat his flesh. Instead, I had him cremated and put into an urn, and I just respected his memory, you know? So when people say, oh, it's wasteful to, it's like, no, dude, just like, you don't need to be eating them. And, yeah, I don't know. It's just crazy. So I just don't think that we should be eating corpses. But yes, like it's much different if you find a dead animal and you want to eat them. I'm not going to give you a real hard time about that. But what I have a problem with is not so much the meat, it's the killing. I have a problem with the killing. But if you didn't kill them, nobody killed them, they just died of natural causes, and you want to eat their dead body, it seems kind of weird and gross and bad for your body, but like if you want to do it, I guess go for it. I think the more ethical thing would just be to like leave the carcass there so that wild animals could eat it who actually need to eat meat as opposed to us, or or give them a proper burial or something. Yeah, um, but yeah, we should not be killing animals at any age unless it's in their best interest because they're suffering.
Why did you decide to like become vegan? Like, and what got you into it?
Yeah, so I was already a human rights activist, fighting for the poor and against racism and sexism and homophobia and stuff like that. And I then saw a movie in 2009, a sci-fi movie called District 9. And it is really cool. I recommend everybody check out District 9. It's not about animal rights, it's about aliens that like crash land on Earth, and the aliens are sick and vulnerable, like they got some illness, and the humans in the movie exploit the aliens' weakness and put the aliens into these ghetto camps where they're just living in tents, and there's garbage all in the streets and stuff, and the humans run painful experiments on the aliens. But the aliens don't mean us any harm, and they've got little kids that they care about, and the aliens, like, they've got a language, they talk to each other, and but we don't care because they're different, right? And so it just got me thinking about discrimination in general and like racism. But I was like, well, this isn't racism because these aliens aren't even the same species as us. So I was like, speciesism, like, discrimination against someone because of their species. Um, but I didn't make the connection to animals until the next day. I was in the middle of eating a steak, and I was just stopped, and I like looked at this piece of dead flesh, and I was like, this is somebody's murdered body. Like, this is the dead body of somebody who wanted to live. And I'm discriminating against these animals the way that the humans in the movie were discriminating against the aliens, right? For not being human. But nobody gets to choose what body they're born into, and there's nothing wrong with being different. So if I'm against racism and sexism, I should also be against speciesism, and just be nice to everybody. And again, I wouldn't do this to my dog, who I was very kind to. So why would I pay somebody to stab a pig or cow or whatever? Um, so yeah, I just felt really like bad about myself. Like I felt like a hypocrite and violent and like an animal abuser. I felt like a racist, really, because of this discrimination. And I hadn't ever seen any slaughterhouse footage yet, but I just knew that all of a sudden I knew this was wrong, and that I wouldn't want to be treated like that if I was in their position. If somebody stronger than me came around, I wouldn't want them to bully me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I just stopped.
I have a question.
I was just gonna say, so I just stopped eating animals right away. I pushed that steak away and ordered a salad. That's all they had at that place, and then I never ate animals again. That was 12 years ago. And then so I was vegetarian for the first year because I thought that was enough. I thought I was doing my part because I didn't realize that the animals in the egg and dairy industry are also tortured and killed as children. And so once I found that out, like a vegan told me, hey, vegetarian, you need to go vegan because these animals are all the same. They're all in the same slaughterhouse and stuff, whether it's meat, milk, or eggs. And so I made that connection and stopped eating eggs and dairy right away. So overnight went vegetarian, and then overnight went vegan a year later. And it wasn't super hard. It was a little scary at first, but nothing you can't handle once you change your priorities and start thinking about the victim instead of yourself.
Yep. Just a question, so I can ask next question. What is your religion?
I'm an atheist. Specifically, I'm an agnostic atheist, which just means that I don't believe in any gods. So I'm atheist, but I'm agnostic in the sense that I don't know. I'm not claiming to know whether or not any gods exist. So basically, I'm saying I don't believe in any gods because I don't find any compelling evidence or arguments, but I'm still open to the possibility that maybe some kind of god or gods exist, and I'm open to seeing evidence or some good argument about that, but I haven't seen it yet. I was raised Christian and believed in God till I was like 32, and then I'm 39 now, so I've been an atheist for like 6 or 7 years. I highly recommend people look into atheism and skepticism and start questioning your religion. But the funny thing is, you can be a vegan Christian, you can be a vegan Muslim. You don't have to become an atheist in order to be vegan. I think Jesus was a fictional character, and that fictional character did abuse animals. Jesus killed fish when he didn't need to. He was God, apparently. He could have, worked any kind of miracle to give people fruits and vegetables instead of killing animals. But yeah, and then in another part, he like helped a bunch of fishermen catch more fish, and then Jesus also sent he exorcised demons out of a human and sent them into a herd of pigs, and the pigs ran off a cliff and died drowning in a lake or whatever. So, and Jesus might have eaten lamb at Passover. Lamb is a baby sheep. So, yeah, all of that is animal cruelty, totally unnecessary. God should have done better if God is real. But there's also
I completely understand, and that's 100% reasonable.
yeah, there's also parts in the Bible that say you can like kill animals as a sacrifice, and yeah, I'm not down with animal sacrifice. I think that's barbaric and crazy, old, weird stuff from the deep history that we should forget
Yeah, I
about.
remember some of
Okay,
those
yeah,
stories.
yeah. So sacrificing animals never should have been done. I don't understand why anybody would need to sacrifice an animal to gods. Okay, but anyway, it's like. But there's also parts in the Bible where it says to be nice to animals, and like in the Garden of Eden, before sin entered the world, before the fall of man, in the Garden of Eden, it was vegan. There was no bloodshed, there was no death, there was no pain, no suffering. Even the animals were vegan, apparently, according to this book. Lions were eating plants, not other animals, right? And the humans, so it says in Genesis 1:28 and
Oh,
29, God says to Adam and Eve, I have given you every green plant and every seed bearing fruit, that they should be your food, and that the animals should eat these plants as well. All of the animals will eat all these plants as well, and that the animals are to be your helpers. All right, so, and then in Isaiah, it says that in the end times, the wolf will lie down with the lamb, and they will neither harm nor destroy on all my holy mountain, for the earth will be filled with the knowledge of the Lord. And do you think that there are slaughterhouses in heaven? Do you think there's blood all over the floor in heaven and animals screaming and cut up bodies all over the place and heads being chopped off? So the point is that God, if this God that I don't believe in, but if you believe in the God of the Bible, what's happening there is this God gives you the choice to either be kind or to be cruel. So I don't see why you would choose to be cruel when you could be kind. And God's ideal, as set up in our understanding of heaven and what we see in Genesis about the Garden of Eden, which was God's ideal state of perfection until humans messed it all up, right? God's ideal is peace and nonviolence, no bloodshed, kindness and compassion to humans and to animals. So if that's God's ideal, shouldn't we strive to fulfill God's ideal here on earth by being peaceful and nonviolent rather than just waiting for that to happen in heaven?
yes, I understand. What is your opinion on cannibals? Not ending animals' lives, but other humans.
Well, like I said, I'm a human rights activist also, so I don't think we should kill and eat each other. But if you're in a survival situation like a plane crash and there's no other food around and somebody has already died, then I would say it's probably a good idea to eat them because it'll help you stay alive, hopefully long enough until you get rescued. But that's a rare case. Generally speaking, don't eat people.
What do you think you could do to spread veganism?
Okay, so yeah, there's lots of different forms of activism. One of which is what we're doing right here, which is just polite educational outreach, um, answering your questions, telling you, things that you weren't aware of, sharing videos and, to like slaughterhouse videos so you can see how the animals are really treated. Stuff like this, videos about or articles, scientific studies about how a plant-based diet is better for the environment and better for your health, stuff like that. And then there's other forms of activism where we actually go out into the streets and we bring laptop computers and we show slaughterhouse videos to people as they're walking by and engage them in a conversation for a couple minutes, show them what's happening to the animals, give them further information to go look into when they leave and stuff like that. And then another form of activism is protesting. That's one of my favorite things. As you can see in my profile picture there, I'm covered in fake blood and got a megaphone in my hand. I've led marches where I'm the chant leader of like 1,000 marchers. It's really fun, powerful stuff. And we like take over the city for a little while, and go inside of restaurants and grocery stores and shut them down for a bit, or block off the streets and get a bunch of people talking about the issue through confrontational dramatic activism, which has worked in other social justice movements as well, like the civil rights movement, the gay rights movement, women's rights movement, anti-war movement. All this stuff used the environmental movement, like Extinction Rebellion. All of these movements use direct action, nonviolent direct action, civil disobedience, protesting, right, to spread the word, to get media coverage, to get articles written about it so that people are forced to talk about this issue so they can't live in denial about how serious this is. So protesting draws attention to the issue, communicates the severity of the problem, and empowers people to take collective action. And sometimes the protest may be like annoying and somebody, it might upset a lot of people, but those upset people will go talk about it with their friends, right? And that's better than nothing, right? And sometimes their friend, they like the person might be like, oh, you should have seen these stupid vegans were screaming on a megaphone about how animals want to live and blah blah blah, shut down all the slaughterhouses and blah blah blah. And their friend that they're talking to might be like, well, I don't know, man, like I just saw a video on YouTube of a slaughterhouse and it was really messed up. Like, why are we doing this to animals? Like, I've seen vegan athletes, like I don't think we need to do this. And like, what is the difference between a dog and a pig, right? Like, these vegans are kind of making sense, so you never know what kind of dialogue is going to get sparked by us ruffling some feathers, so to speak, right? So and also, again, it can get media attention in a way that more calm activism, like what we're doing right here, is not going to get any articles or news reports written about it, right? But if we shut down the road, or if we rush into a factory farm or a slaughterhouse and chain ourselves to the kill floor and rescue some animals and take them to a veterinary care and then to an animal sanctuary, right? And some of the activists are willing to get arrested and go to jail for the night. Then that gets articles written about you. That gets on the news. So yeah, so then there's other things like lobbying politicians to change the laws. So like we got some activists together and went to politicians in different cities in California to ban fur because of the animal cruelty, and we won. We got politicians on our side in West Hollywood, in Berkeley, California, in San Francisco, and then in Los Angeles, and they all banned the sale of fur. And then we took it to the governor of the state of California, and he signed the bill, and we banned the sale of fur in California. This happened just a couple of years ago. It only took like 3 years to do this, and it only took 300 activists, and that's a $40 million per year industry. The fur industry in California, they were making $40 million a year, and we shut it down, right? So we're just going to do the same thing with meat, dairy, and eggs. Boycott them, empower people to take action, and then lobby politicians and change the laws. There's other stuff too, like just doing cooking demonstrations. That's activism. Posting on social media. That's activism. Showing slaughterhouse videos on your Facebook page or whatever, or just talking to your friends and family is activism as well. You don't have to like go get arrested or anything like that. Just talk to your friends and your family about this and show them the slaughterhouse videos.
I hope you have a good day.
Okay, cool. It was nice talking to you. Got 22 people with their hands up.
So you know how animals would kill other animals to survive, correct?
Some of them, yeah. I mean, like,
Most of them,
well,
like,
well,
when
ca-
bears eating rabbits, foxes.
yeah. I'm just saying,
So
like cows. Cows are herbivores, so they're not trying to eat any other animals. Most animals are herbivores.
I'm talking about other animals.
So you mean like predator animals,
So
like carnivores?
yeah. So would you say you would be against that?
So it's
As a,
Yeah, so it's still sad and unfortunate that a lion kills a gazelle, but the lion is killing the gazelle because they have to eat animals in order to survive, and the lion doesn't know any better. But we are civilized human beings who can make compassionate choices, so we're held to a higher moral standard. Lions would kill a human child if given the opportunity. Are we therefore justified in killing children simply because a lion would? No, we're held to a higher standard. But it's not unethical for the lion to kill the gazelle, but it's still harmful to the gazelle. It's necessary for the lion's survival. But so for us, it's not necessary. It's still harmful to the gazelle or whatever animal we're killing, and we don't need to do it, right? So there's a big difference here. But if there is some way to prevent gazelles from being killed by lions and keep the lions alive, because I don't want to like starve the lions by protecting the gazelles, because then that's mean to the lions, right? So it's like you want to find some non-violent solution that balances all out. But I think that's something that we'll have to like confront in maybe 100 years or something once we have a vegan society. Like we're trying to shut down slaughterhouses right now. That's our main goal, and once we have a nation full of vegans, then we'll have more of an ability to help wild animals. But yeah, there are things that could be done. It would just be tricky, and you got to be careful when you intervene in nature that you don't accidentally make things worse. But yeah, if we could save the gazelles and feed the lions, that would be good.
so what about our ancestors? Even though they were given a choice to eat plants, they did decide to eat animals. How do you feel about that? I'm just curious.
Sure. So I feel like we went from desperation to gluttony. Like as a civilization, humanity started out in a state of desperation, and many parts of the world still live in desperation. And we need to help them get to a better spot and help them have free access to healthy plant foods. But the point is that we were in a desperate spot, and when your survival is at stake, uh, that's way different. It's different rules of engagement than if you could just buy something else at the grocery store, right? So I don't hold them to the same standard because they didn't have agriculture in a lot of situations. They didn't have industrialization. They may have been trying to forage, but there was no, it was wintertime maybe, and there wasn't any fruits or vegetables they could find, and so they resorted to hunting. And I'm not trying to blame somebody for doing what they have to do to stay alive, but we're not in that situation anymore, and so different rules of engagement. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. Okay.
But
Hypothetically, let's say we were all put into a position where we had to resort to eating animals. Let's say we had to go back to what we did about 100 or so years ago. Do you think you would still try to turn people vegan even though we did not have the necessities to, process plants and actual foods that we could eat to give us more protein and energy?
well, again, it's the same kind of thing of like if you don't have access to plant foods, then it's not an issue. But if you don't have access to plant foods, but if me it, talking about animal rights increases the risk of you getting access to plant foods, then I have a moral obligation to talk about animal rights and increase your likelihood to have access to plant foods so that you can then make that choice. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
And if you don't make
Another thing is farming. How do you feel about like farming?
farming plants or animals.
Both. Well, for this situation, animals.
Yeah, so farming is animal cruelty. Like, It unnecessarily breeds animals into existence for the purpose of exploitation and slaughter. And again, these animals are killed when they're children because that's when it's profitable. Pigs are killed when they're 6 months old. Chickens are killed when they're 1 month old, right? So, and most of the time, like most meat, dairy, and eggs come from factory farms. Like 99% of animal products come from factory farms and horrific slaughterhouses. And that's just the way that big businesses work. That's the way capitalism operates. The big businesses buy out the smaller farms, right, and sell most of the product. And so, so there's that, and then yeah, where they're and in factory farms they're kept in tiny little cages, and their tails are cut off without anesthesia, their ears are clipped off, their teeth are clipped off with no painkillers, their testicles are ripped out of little baby pigs because it makes the meat taste better, right? And they're screaming, they're just screaming little baby animals. It's not okay. And then even on like small local family farms and stuff where like you would think it's like the best case scenario, the fact of the matter is they're still sent to a slaughterhouse at a very early age, and it's not okay.
So, what makes you think that every farm would be like that?
Well, I've done a lot of investigations myself. I've been to a lot of farms and slaughterhouses. I've watched thousands of videos of undercover investigations of farms and slaughterhouses, and like I said, it still doesn't matter. Even if the animal is treated well, the animal, like no farmer who's in this for a business is going to keep those animals alive any longer than they have to, because they have to pay to
Well,
feed those animals.
if you really think about it, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. If you really think about it, isn't that how they stay in business? That's kind of the whole point. I mean, if somebody's making a bunch of money off of that, for example, if that were me, I wouldn't stop doing that just because some people do not like that opinion. I'm going to keep doing that if that's what it takes to keep myself financially supported and my family. I'm, I'm not, I don't find joy in killing animals, but with the way the world works, you have to do what you have to do for money, even if that is not morally right, or if that's what a lot of people would agree with. That's something that I feel like a lot of people don't understand.
Okay, but a lot of those people can work different jobs, right? So instead of having a slaughterhouse, we can replace it with a factory that creates vegan burgers, or they can turn their like there's a couple in Texas that used to be cattle ranchers, and they went vegan and turned their animal ranch into an animal sanctuary, and they stopped sending their animals to slaughter, and they have the rancher. This is called Rowdy Girl Sanctuary, and they have the ranchers advocacy program where they help other animal farmers transition to plant farming. So they give them tips on like soil and water and new buildings and whatever. And the Vegan Society in the UK does the same thing. So, but it's not our job to help the oppressors stop hurting the victims. So, like, we have understanding for farmers' situation, and we're trying to be loving and merciful and forgiving and patient. We can't be too patient though, because these animals didn't do nothing wrong. That's the thing; they're the real victims, right? So they're on the top of our list. They're the priority here, and making money is not a justification for animal abuse.
Okay. Well, if you were in a business for years, I don't think you would just, well, in my opinion, I want to just switch because after doing something for so long, I mean, what would you do with the animals? Most of the time, if you just give it to another farm, it doesn't matter. Most
Well,
of the time, they're just going to get killed either way. So, really, in the end, what difference would that make?
right. So that's what I'm talking about with the Rowdy Girl Sanctuary. They stopped sending their animals to slaughter and turned it into a sanctuary where the animals are treated with respect, and they're just happy, safe, and free. They get veterinary care. They get to live their lives out to old age. They get good food and belly rubs.
Well, what makes you think everybody's going to go to that?
Well, so Burger King, for example, already has a vegan burger, the Impossible Whopper, and Burger King said that by 2031, so 10 years from now, half of their menu is going to be vegan. Their reasoning is for the environment, but which is helpful also, like for the environment and for the animals. Even if people stop eating animals for the environment, that helps the animals, right? So there are people going plant based for their health and then learning about what veganism really means about animal rights, and they see slaughterhouse videos, and it becomes a big thing in their life, and they start becoming animal rights activists, right? And people are going vegan in droves. People are not happy when they watch a slaughterhouse video, and they are making the connection that there's no real difference between a dog and a pig, and that this is like racism or sexism. This is speciesism, discrimination based on species, and that this has nothing to do with a just society. If we want to be a just society that cares about equality, then we need to expand that to all sentient beings, not just our group.
Well, I don't really see what a cow would have to do with a dog. The reason why is because in like our past years, ancestors, we've also used those dogs to hunt or as protection. So if we did that, why would we also see them as food now after they did that years ago and we bred them into something that we would build a relationship because it's something we actually wanted and decided to have. So I don't really understand the point of comparing a cow to a dog that you decided to have.
Well, we could breed pigs and chickens and cows for companionship also, just like we do with dogs. Like some people have pigs as pets.
But what they do for us, though?
Okay, first of all, it's not about what someone does for us. Their life matters to them. What are you doing for me? Like, I don't know if you're helping me at all. Like, I enjoy our conversation and stuff. It's helping me in that way. But like, a stranger in general may not be helping me. But I'm not going to kill them, right? Or take a mentally disabled person who's only as smart as a pig. They might not be contributing to society or helping me in any way. I'm just not going to kill that person, right? Because it doesn't matter how smart somebody is or if they contribute to the world. What matters is they feel pain and they want to live. So I have no need to kill them. I value them for their own sake. And they probably have, like these animals do have friends and families that they care about and stuff like that. But also, they can provide companionship to us. Like people have chickens as therapy animals, right?
Yes. Well, when I told you the reason why I feel like we don't do that to dogs is because, like, in the past, like, few hundred years, we kind of use them as protection in the hunt. And,
yeah, but we could change
to
that.
help us to survive and strive.
Yeah, but we could change that. We could start saying, okay, we're going to breed a certain kind of dog to be a meat dog. And then we'll have hunting dogs, and we'll have sport dogs, and therapy dogs, and just regular pet dogs, guard dogs. But we'll have some meat dogs and some milk dogs, and we'll start stealing the breast milk of dogs. Why not? They're just animals. They're not humans. They don't matter.
I never suggested that.
Huh?
But
well,
okay.
Would you kill a human?
If I had to, yes.
Right. But if you don't have to, would you kill a human for a chicken nugget, like a human nugget?
I mean,
probably not,
will it
right?
taste good?
Yeah, it'll taste good. Yeah, the human nugget will taste good, but you could just eat a vegan nugget also.
I mean, how do you feel about cannibalism?
I already talked to somebody else about cannibalism. Don't eat people if you don't need to. Okay, it's the same thing with animals. Humans are animals, right? Don't eat humans, don't eat animals. Just be nice. If you have to, that's different.
I just feel like you're trying to twist my words.
I'm not trying to. I'm not. I don't think I actually am twisting your words, and I'm not trying to twist your words. I'm trying to interpret what you're saying and show you the logical conclusion of your position.
Also, another thing. Why do you think meat should be illegal, as the title or whatever says?
Because slaughter is animal.
How are you going to turn something that we made into food illegal?
Because why is because slaughter is animal cruelty. All right, it is cruel to cut their heads off, even if it's quick and painless, which oftentimes it is not. They are scared inside of these slaughterhouses. They hear the screams of their friends. They smell the blood. They hear these big clanking machines, right? And then their throats are slit, right? So go watch some slaughterhouse videos. But
I don't know. I've watched them.
Okay. So what was your question, though?
Where actually, what was it? Oh, right. So I don't get how you think after something we've been doing for really as long as the world was even created, I don't understand how you feel all of a sudden you're just going to turn everybody vegan.
Yeah, so...
And yes, I'm not against vegans. I'm not against vegans. I just don't understand why you feel the need to push that onto other people and turn them into vegans.
Because it's animal cruelty, in the same way that you probably support laws against kicking dogs needlessly, right? So, like, a dog's just chilling, not attacking anybody or anything, right? And some guy starts kicking the dog. You probably support... Most people who eat animals support laws protecting dogs from being kicked. And what I'm saying is that it would be even worse to kill an animal than to kick an animal, right? Same with humans. Like if you get kicked, you're gonna have a bruise, but you'll get over it, right? If you get killed, even if it's quick and painless, a bullet in the head while you're sleeping, so no pain, no fear, that's worse than getting kicked, which has physical pain and maybe some fear. Because when you're killed, your whole life is taken away from you. Your friends and family relationships destroyed. All of your continued existence, all the good days ahead of you you had waiting to be enjoyed, gone for nothing, for someone else's selfish pleasure, right? So it's the same thing with animals. It's worse to kill a dog than to kick a dog. And if you think it's wrong to kick a pig, most meat eaters think it's wrong to kick a pig. Well, wouldn't it, by that logic, be even worse to kill a pig, even if it's quick and painless, because it takes that pig's life away? And remember, pigs are killed when they're 6 months old.
So, I mean, I understand where you're coming from.
So, like, that's
but
why.
At this point,
what? Sorry to interrupt. I just want to say, like, that's why we're doing this. But as far as, like, how or, like, are we going to be capable of doing this? Just look at how many people are going vegan. How many people are, like, a third of Britons are drinking plant milk. Right, that's cool. The plant milk is taking over faster than the vegan meat is right now. But vegan burgers are popping up all over the place. And now they've got a Burger King in Africa that is selling vegan burgers and vegan chicken nuggets. Okay, so things are changing. But also, if you just look at any other social justice movement, like the women's right to vote movement, right? So women were oppressed for thousands of years.
Okay, I just want to know what that would have to do with animals.
Yeah, so here's the explanation. Women have been oppressed in patriarchal societies by men for thousands of years, unjustifiably, right? But about 100 years ago, a small group of powerful, brave, dedicated activists got together and stood up for their rights, and they changed society. They motivated people who were like in favor of equality for women but weren't willing to speak up about it because society was like outnumbering them. Like the social norms, the dominant culture was sexism, and so people didn't feel empowered to speak up until activists started doing that first, and then people started defending those activists, right? And same thing with the civil rights movement and anti-slavery movement, the gay rights movement. So gay people have been oppressed horrifically for thousands of years as well, and yet we passed the Same-Sex Marriage Act in 2015 in the U.S., making it a constitutionally protected activity to gay marriage. And in 1996, support for gay marriage in America was only 27%. 1996, 27% of Americans supported gay marriage. That number has now tripled. 75% of Americans now support gay marriage. Which is just in 25 years. And that's even most Republicans now support gay marriage. 55% of Republicans and 60% of elderly people support gay marriage. Nobody saw this coming, right? But it happened. And we're doing the same thing.
Okay, well, you do realize that animals cannot speak up for their opinion, right?
Okay, so that's ableism. So there's a lot of humans with mental...
Hold on. What the fuck is ableism?
Okay, so ableism is discrimination based on someone's intelligence level or their ability to walk.
I'm not estimating their intelligence level.
No, you
They
did.
are not capable of giving their opinion. Even
Yeah,
if they were, we
exactly.
cannot understand what their opinion was because we cannot understand what they are saying.
Yeah, sure. So there are humans who have mental disabilities to such a degree that they are only as smart as a cow, pig, or chicken, right? And these humans can't communicate with us. They can't express their interests in the same way that we can express ours because they're cognitively impaired. Just like in the same way that animals are on their same intellectual level, they can't express themselves in the same way, in a complex, clear, using English language kind of way, but they can run from pain and fear and wag their tails in enjoyment and frolic through fields with their friends and nurture their babies and protect their babies and stuff like this. So that's what's important.
Well, from what I've researched and read, even though I know it's completely not related, but from what I've read, um, even though plants cannot feel pain, they are still able to feel sensation that notifies them that they are being eaten. And really, any living thing is gonna fight not to die. So, really, there is no difference. There's always gonna be cruelty to fight to survive. So, I don't really think there's a difference.
Okay, so plants don't have a brain or nerves, so like you said, they don't feel pain.
But they still have a defense mechanism.
I understand that, but just because they're living organisms does not mean they are sentient organisms. So they are not conscious individuals who care how they're treated.
But they still have a will to live because they have a defense mechanism.
But it's kind of like an automatic reflex as opposed to a conscious thought. All right, so the science is overwhelmingly clear that animals are sentient and that plants are not. But even if plants were sentient, all right, that would still, the thing to do would still be vegan, because we have to eat plants in order to survive, but we don't have to eat animals in order to survive. Like, there are nutrients in plants that we need. There are not nutrients in animal flesh that we need that we cannot get from a plant-based diet. Also, it takes 16 pounds of plants to make 1 pound of beef, because the farmer has to feed the cow every day for 18 months to get them up to slaughter weight. So so we would save 16 times as many plant lives if we just ate the plants directly instead of growing a bunch of extra ones and filtering them through animals.
Plants do not have a conscious body. The fact that their body reacts shows that, an instinct. They are not trying to die. They are more going to, oh, I need to stay alive. So really, in order to survive, I mean, you're always going to be killing something.
Okay.
Really.
Well, so first of all, in stage 1 text, I'm posting some scientific articles, studies about how plants are not sentient and don't feel pain. So you can check these out. But
I'm not talking about the pain. I'm talking about the body's reaction.
Yeah, but I'm talking. I know. I'm talking about that also, though, because just because something responds to stimuli doesn't mean they're consciously aware or have an invested interest in what's going on. So responding to stimuli, like our computers, our phones, what we're on right now, respond to stimuli, but they're not alive. They're not. And I understand that plants are alive, but what we're talking about is things can respond to stimuli and even communicate intellectually, like our internet is doing right now. But that doesn't mean that they're conscious or sentient, right? Your knee, when you go to the doctor bangs your knee to test your reflexes, your leg will jump up, but you didn't tell it to do that. It's just an automatic reflex, an unthinking process.
So, okay. It's kind of like a thought, and this is just how I see it. A fight or flight response, your body just kind of automatically does what it needs to survive. Same thing with how plants do a defense mechanism to try to survive. It's like.
But like I said,
I feel like.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, it's fine.
Well, I mean, it's just like we know that animals are sentient. We don't. Like, all the evidence is leading to the conclusion that plants are not sentient, and so that's the direction I think we should go. But also, again, like I said, yeah, we're going to cause some degree of harm in this world, but that doesn't mean we should maximize the amount of harm we cause or not try to limit or minimize the amount of harm we cause, right? So again, it takes 16 pounds of plants to make 1 pound of beef, because you have to feed that cow for a year and a half. So if you want to save plant lives, eat them directly. and we save more plant lives. But we have to eat plants, otherwise, like, it's advocating for suicide, right?
It's
So
not really about me wanting to save one over another. It's just it doesn't seem like there's a difference in either way. It's just
but there is through the numbers.
not really.
Just okay,
and it
just
doesn't matter which one is worse. Either
no,
way, you're still,
no, like no,
taking
okay.
away something.
Look, first of all, just with the numbers, we meat eaters kill way more plants than vegans. Okay, so even if you're saying plants and animals are equal, meat eaters are killing more plants and more animals than vegans. Okay, so, but also they're not equal, because look at the difference between a potato and a dog. Stab the potato and then stab the dog, and tell me if you see a difference.
Oh, the dog's gonna fucking die, no shit.
Right, and the potato's just gonna sit there. Or a tree, right? It's just gonna sit there.
Well, really? I had no idea.
Or it might have some electrical release, response to stimuli, but nothing to be so concerned about. And even if it was, like, we could even try, like, to eat the apple without killing the tree, right? So if we need to take it, like, I'm willing to, like, keep expanding this if science shows us that we need to, right? There's another thing called vertical farming. Vertical farming is like an indoor skyscraper building going up into the sky where the plants are stacked on top of each other. Instead of going sideways, taking up a bunch of land, right? And so these indoor vertical farms, it's like a greenhouse, right? So it's aeroponic or hydroponic plant farming, and that way there's no need for pesticides because bugs can't get inside the building. There's no like little rodents that are going to get chopped up by a combine harvester or anything. It's better for the environment and stuff like this. So that's ideally what we want to move towards.
Do you think there is a way to make animals that cannot feel pain or aren't sentient? Would you still disagree with that, even if something like that were to be created?
Well, I don't think that we should be, like, meddling with animal minds and bodies and stuff. We should just leave them alone because it would take.
Well, I mean, if you're against it, and even though people still do it, don't you think it'd be better to just make something like that?
Yeah.
Because either way, people are still gonna do it.
Well, they're not, because we're going to make it illegal. But the point is that there's already
You're gonna make eating meat illegal?
Yeah, look at the top of the stage. Look at the stage name. What do you think we're doing here? Right? We're going to We're going to shut down all the slaughterhouses, and you're not going to be allowed to stab animals anymore. Scary, isn't it? What a terrifying life. What a scary life.
I'm so sorry you think I stab animals.
Well, when you pay someone to stab animals, when you hire the hitman, you are the killer.
Who said I was paying anybody?
When you hire the hitman, you are the killer. And if you're a kid and you live in your parents' house and they're paying for the food, you're still supporting the system by saying, "Hey, mom and dad, keep." Okay, well, whatever you're talking about,
just
like,
because I'm not a vegan and I'm non-vegan doesn't mean I find joy in killing animals.
I didn't say. Well, you do. You do find
just
joy.
Like our ancestors have been doing for like thousands of years.
Yeah, just like our ancestors have been oppressing women and gay people.
What does that have to... You see, the thing is, you're bringing up irrelevant topics to what we are trying to debate about.
How is it irrelevant? Either way.
Tell me what that has to do with animals.
Because humans are animals.
Tell me what that has to do with animals.
Because humans are animals. We all feel pain and pleasure. We are sentient beings with a brain and a nervous system. It's not okay to kick a dog or a human or a pig for the same reasons.
So what's the difference when we do it? We're also animals, aren't we?
I already explained this. Didn't I explain this to you even? Like, I feel like I've said this. Okay,
but you're saying we're also animals. So what difference does it make?
Because we are intellectually evolved animals who can make compassionate choices. So for the same reason that just because a lion would kill a human child, that doesn't give us an excuse to kill human children, right? So there's a difference. Look, there's a difference between being a moral agent and being a moral patient. A moral agent is someone who can conceptualize morality, like what we're doing right now, some of us better than others, right? So that's a moral agent, and to some degree, some animals are moral agents in that they, like, kind of care for their young and stuff like that, but they're definitely not advanced to the degree that we are. But all humans and all animals are moral patients, as opposed to moral agents, moral patients, in that we can be affected by others' moral sensitivities, moral behavior towards us, or immoral behavior towards us, right? So because humans and animals all feel pain and pleasure and have a desire to stay alive, they can all suffer, and can all be oppressed and can all be helped, right, in morally relevant ways. And so animals are moral patients, but not so much moral agents. We are both. And so we have a responsibility to use our power for good, to help those who are in need and not exploit their vulnerability. Because it's like bullying, and it's going back to that ableism thing. Like, what is the difference between a human and an animal that justifies legal protection for humans, but a knife in the throat for animals? What's the difference between humans and animals?
Really nothing. They're both animals.
Okay, so should we have human slaughterhouses also, or should we shut down the animal slaughterhouses? Because to be consistent, it's got to be one or the other.
If that's what it comes to, I can understand why.
You can understand why we would have human slaughterhouses?
You think, we've already seen it before. Haven't people resorted to cannibalism just to survive?
Yeah, but I'm not talking about to survive, because we're not eating animals to survive. I'm talking about eating humans because we like the taste of their flesh.
But don't we get more protein from animals than we do plants? We can get protein from plants, but that's not something we can live off of.
It absolutely
is.
Especially
with people that do more work, like construction.
Boxing.
They can't live off of eating plants.
Okay, so go to stage 1 text. I want everybody to go to stage 1 text on the left side of your screen. I'm going to post a picture of some vegan bodybuilders and a statement from some physicians and dietitians.
But you do realize that they have to constantly eat like a lot more than 3 meals a day, right? Do you want something to be more?
Okay. Do you have any?
Not have to eat as much and work faster. Meat, protein. People know that meat has protein and is better used to build muscles and a lot more effective.
Okay, friend. Do you have any scientific sources to back up your statement? Because I do.
Don't call me your fucking friend.
Okay, well, pal, buddy, whatever you want. Before I kick you off the fucking stage, do you have any scientific evidence to back up your claims? Because I do.
Oh, I'd like to see yours, if you don't mind.
Oh, yeah, while I'm getting mine, you might want to get yours, because if you don't have any evidence, then you probably shouldn't be making those claims.
I mean, if that really was the same, then why won't people just do that instead?
Because people are greedy and selfish, and they like the flavor. They like the flavor of murdered animals and the convenience, and they actually don't care about their health that much.
But can't we put that same flavor in plants?
Yeah, we got vegan burgers, vegan chicken, vegan sausage.
And if it had the same amount of protein,
it does.
Then why don't we just do that with plants?
Because you're being selfish.
It's not being selfish. It's just
you're stuck in your routine. No, you're just stuck in your routine.
See, the thing is, the people like you just think the world is just gonna do everything you do just because you think it's morally right. The world is never gonna change. It's always gonna be full of suffering. That's something you have to accept, and always has been that way.
Okay, so that's a fallacy.
And just because you disagree with one thing that's morally wrong in your way doesn't mean everybody else is gonna be like, oh, guys, let's do this. Let's make it change this. You know?
Okay, so that's called
not how it works.
Yeah, that's called an appeal.
People do that for their own self-pleasure, and that's always going to be there.
Yeah, so what you're doing is called an appeal to futility fallacy. You're basically saying, well, the world's never going to change, it's never going to be perfect, so we might as well not even try. And if that was the case for other social justice movements, then women would still not have the right to vote, and blacks would still be enslaved, and gays would be stoned in the streets. So I just posted some health stats in stage 1 text, and I'll read them aloud for anybody who can't access that. So the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. Hold on.
Okay.
Hey, thanks.
Can I just say something?
Nope. I need to read this because we were talking about.
No. I just want to say something. So since you want to bring up racism and sexism a lot, even though those kind of things have still been, changed, there's still people that are against it. So that hate is always going to be there, and it's never going to change.
Yeah, I agree. There's always going to be racists and murderers and child abusers, but we should still have laws against racism and murder and child abuse. Because it decreases the amount of victims.
We do have
it denormalizes.
Child abuse.
Yes, it denormalizes the behavior. It stigmatizes it, makes it socially unacceptable, and prevents people from doing it because be like, wait, hold on. Hey, sorry. I'm in the middle of a sentence, though. I'm in the middle of a sentence, please. Okay, so it also has a preventive aspect of when we criminalize a behavior, it disincentivizes people to commit that behavior. So this is why we criminalize these things and do our best to protect society from humans who want to cause us harm.
That doesn't mean it'll stop happening altogether.
I didn't say it would.
I
know, but so what? Just because you can't get rid of a problem entirely doesn't mean you shouldn't make drastic improvement, right?
But aren't you trying to make a drastic improvement on it?
Yes, and we are, and it's just going to get better and better, but we need your help. Technically, we don't need your help. It would be helpful if you helped us, but we're going to win with or without your help. But I'm going to read this study from the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics real quick. So this is to wrap up about health and protein and all that nonsense, okay? The Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics is the world's largest organization of food and nutrition experts with 100,000 registered dietitians, and their position is that an appropriately planned vegan diet is healthy, nutritionally adequate, and may provide health benefits for the prevention and treatment of certain diseases such as heart disease, type 2 diabetes, hypertension, certain types of cancer, and obesity. These nutrition experts confirm that a vegan diet is appropriate for all stages of the life cycle, including pregnancy, lactation, infancy, childhood, adolescence, older adulthood, and for athletes. This is also supported by Dietitians of Canada, British National Health Service, dietitians of Australia, the USDA, the Mayo Clinic, the fucking Harvard Medical School, British Dietetic Association. Like this is the scientific consensus. So if you can back up your claims that a person can't be healthy on a vegan diet, that would be helpful.
I never said they can't be healthy on it. I'm just saying they can't get as much protein as... Yes, people can be healthy on a vegan diet, but they won't get as much protein as they would out of meat.
Substantiate your claims, please, with science.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so if you want to, I'm guessing it'll take you a while to find this because you'll probably never find it. But if you find it, you can always get up on...
I'm so sorry. I thought this was a debate. Isn't it supposed to be opinion?
Well, I've been talking to you for a while, and there's 30 people with their hands up. But if you want to come up on stage tomorrow, we do these stages every day, and that will give you time to find studies, hopefully, if you can find something. And you can post them in...
This sounds completely unrelated, but do you like energy drinks? I know this sounds completely unrelated.
No, I don't drink energy drinks anymore.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah, I'm just passionate about justice.
Oh no, I was just gonna say because energy drinks have bull sperm in it or something.
No, taurine is not bull sperm.
What? Oh wait, not bull sperm. Apparently, it's a tissue in animals.
I think you're missing.
I actually have it right here. I can send you it. I can send it to you.
Yes, send it in stage 1 text if you want.
Okay.
In any case,
Stage 1.
Any last thoughts or questions?
Would you say you're trying to force this on people?
Right now, we're just trying to educate and motivate people to change of their own accord because they realize it's the right thing to do because the animals need your help and they've done nothing wrong to deserve getting stabbed in the throat. But if you don't change of your own accord, then yes, we will force you to change by changing the law. As soon as we get enough people on our side, which is going to happen soon.
But isn't changing the law just because of your opinion kind of forcing that?
Middle of the sentence. As soon as we get enough people on our side, which is going to happen way sooner than you think, we are going to shut down all the slaughterhouses and ban meat. We're going to ban meat, dairy, and eggs. We're going to ban all animal cruelty.
So what you're saying is you're going to ban the source of food?
We're going to ban all the slaughterhouses, right.
So you're going to ban a source of food?
It's not food, it's violence.
Well, at that point, it just feels like you're trying to force it on people.
Well,
you're people to go vegan.
Yeah, well, okay. you're forcing. Hold on. Hey, you're forcing. But the problem is, you're forcing a knife into the animal's throat. Okay, so in the same way that
whoever said I was doing
because when you buy these products, you are paying someone to stab an animal for you. Why don't you do the dirty work yourself? Scared? Don't want to get the blood on your hands?
Sure, I'd do that just to fucking eat meat. That shit's good.
Yeah, you do it just to upset some vegans, right? Just to troll. But no, I don't think you would. I don't
have a problem with vegans.
I think
you can be vegan, whatever, but you don't have to publicly force it on people and say you're gonna.
No, I do because the animals need our help.
Because at that point, it's just forcing it on people.
Yeah, that's fine. Look, dude.
You're gonna make meat illegal.
Look, you already force laws onto your fellow humans regarding animal rights. You force people.
How am I forcing it on people?
Okay.
If I was forcing it on people,
yeah, watch.
I hate vegans all
no. Listen. You support laws preventing and punishing people for kicking dogs, don't you?
because dogs are considered companions and help us to hunt
Yeah,
and for protection too. So of
these
course we're
other
gonna see them
animals,
as that
these other
companion. We're even
animals
doing
are
it for
my
years now.
companions. These,
Cows are more just a source of food, and we
uh-huh.
see that as it because it's in our instinct to do that.
Yeah, well, these other animals are my friends. So you better take your fucking hands off them. How's that?
Shit, I don't touch your animals.
Right. Lemony, come on stage.
Hello.
What's up?
It's going good. I had a question. I totally agree with all the points you're making. But part of why I'm trying to go vegan right now, actually, and I had a question.
Okay.
Does being vegan make you care about animals, or do you have to care about animals beforehand? Because I went vegan, so I have to care about animals. I didn't go vegan, but I'm trying to be vegan.
Okay. Yeah, that's an interesting question. So there's a difference between being vegan and being plant-based. So being plant-based means you're eating a vegan diet. You're eating a plant. Yeah, you're eating a plant-based diet.
Plant-based. I'm
But
trying to go plant-based, I guess.
okay, yeah, because plant-based is doing it for your own health or to help the environment, stuff like that. But veganism is for the animals, right? So if you don't care about animals right now, and that might change. You might develop a care for animals as you think more about this and watch slaughterhouse videos and see animals like cows and pigs playing on an animal sanctuary, enjoying their life, and just acting like little kids, right? You might change your mind, but in the meantime, it's like, yeah, you be going plant based for your health or for the environment, and that's helpful too, and those are good things. But we are encouraging people to become anti-speciesist, to care about animal rights, to fight against speciesism, this discrimination against animals just because they're not human, or discrimination against certain animals like cows and pigs and chickens, while we're nice to cats and dogs, right? So all of that is
I
just
agree that that's like
yes,
I really hate. That's part of the reason why I started like getting convinced because whenever I talk about people who need about my opinions, that like say that it's not that like I don't know. Maybe I just get too aggressive about it, but I'm just like if I can't hurt an animal for like entertainment, why should I be able to hurt an animal for the entertainment of my taste buds?
exactly. Yeah, you sound like a vegan.
And no, no, like seriously, like that's literally my. I swear, it, everyone acts like I'm crazy except y'all, and it makes me so happy because I literally was like, why does no one like get that?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean,
That's
and
why I'm trying to go plant based. And I had a question.
well, that would be
Another
going
one.
vegan though. Like if you're doing it for the animals, that's vegan. So like you can also be doing it for your health, but like the main thing we want people to think about is the victims of these choices, right?
More because of I don't want to be a part of that hypocrisy,
Yeah,
but
that too.
also so I can learn how to care about animals because I'm very callous. I need to learn more compassion towards animals.
That's awesome.
I
Yeah,
don't
that's
kick dogs or anything, but I just think maybe, hopefully, it'll magically make me care about animals, and it'll make.
yeah, I hear what you're saying. I think you're in the right place. So like I said, people can change. I used to make fun of vegans, and now look at me, right? So and I've killed animals before, like not just by buying their dead bodies, but like with my direct behavior. I've killed animals in my life. So and I feel really bad about it, and I
Wait,
want.
like, but like animals associated with farming, or because I mean, like, I understand if you have like a mental illness and you kill animals. Like, I'm not saying it's right, but if you like killed a dog before, I'm not gonna like hate on. I'm not saying that I agree with killing dogs, but like that's what you meant. Then I hope you've recovered past that. If that's what you meant.
Yeah, I was a troubled child for sure, and yeah, like when I was a kid, yeah, I don't want to get too graphic and into the details, but there was a lizard, there was a hamster, and like really violent
You're so
deaths.
cruel towards animals for real. It's weird.
Yeah, and
If
then
you were a
like
kid, I don't blame you. Kids are kind of dumb.
yeah, but then as a teenager, like I ran over a rabbit. I was with my friends and we were all excited and they were like, "Get him!" And I ran over the rabbit and like instantly felt like so much regret and guilt. My friends were all having a good time with it, but I kept eating meat. So that was strange that I would feel bad about running over a rabbit, but still eat animal products, right? But I'll post a video for you here in stage one text. So this is a video I made called Happy Animals. And so happy
Yeah,
animals.
I watched part of that.
Oh, cool. Right. Well,
That
I'll.
actually, you give me hope because if someone ran over something, like I'm callous enough to where I wouldn't really care,
but I know that's messed up. I should care if an animal gets run over.
Yeah.
Like, that's messed up. And I know, but if that's messed up, then I can't continue eating meat if that's messed up because,
Right.
like,
Yeah.
well, have you tried field roast brand
Oh
products?
yeah. Field roast is really good. Another one is
You
Gardein.
tried their chicken wings, their
Yeah.
potatoes, and their peas, and
Yeah.
it was really good.
Yeah, there's a lot of like really good vegan meat, like vegan chicken and stuff like that that tastes just the same, but without all
The
the dead
chicken is
bodies.
so easy to replicate,
Yeah.
for real.
Yeah, for real. But yeah, so just keep trying to connect with the animals by watching slaughter videos and by watching happy videos like what I just posted, Happy Animals on YouTube. So check out my other videos about protesting and rescuing animals from slaughterhouses and stuff like that on YouTube. Just type in my name,
Okay.
and then but also think about why you don't care so much about animals. And I would say the reason is that because you were culturally indoctrinated.
I don't care about the same animals that other people care about. Like, I care about pigeons and worms and, like, stuff like that some people would regard as, like, nasty. Like, people care about, like, hamsters and bunnies and stuff. I don't really care about those.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I'm not sure the reason for that, but generally speaking, I think we are raised in a speciesist culture that teaches us to, love dogs, wear cows, and eat pigs,
Yeah.
right? And
Definitely.
yeah, and so it just takes a little time to deconvert, to unindoctrinate ourselves, to unbrainwash ourselves, use critical thinking skills, and see things clearly and from a different perspective. But I think you're doing great. It sounds like you're trying to do your best, and that's awesome. And just imagine if you were raised in a society that thought human slavery was okay. If you were raised in a
Yeah,
society,
honestly, I like thinking that. I, I'm assuming that I was born as like a rich white person because born as I would now, I'd definitely be against it because I'm like, I probably work in the house, but I still would be against.
well,
But I
yeah,
do think that it's a perspective thinking how if I can grow up thinking eating meat is fine, maybe I would have been okay with slavery too, as horrible that sounds.
yeah,
Just because
exactly.
of
Exactly, because we're a social species and we tend to just follow the crowd and do what all of our friends and family are doing and do whatever the TV tells us to do, right? And what all the restaurants and grocery stores tell us to buy and stuff like this. Um, and so yeah, I think like it's very likely that most of us would have grown up racist and pro-slavery if we were in that time. But we would also have the opportunity to break free of that. And a lot of times we need each other's help for that. It can be hard for us to break free on our own. It took me till I was 26 to finally be nice to animals. So like, and that's just because I saw a movie that helped me make the connection. So we all got to help each other to make this connection and become better than what our parents created. Clutchmaster FTW.
Hello, hello.
What's up?
Yeah. So I'm up for a debate here.
All right, let's do it, man. Take the gloves off. Come at me.
All right. So you said you go around like in cities like doing protests, right?
Yeah.
How do you like do these protests?
Sure. So sometimes we'll stay outside of a business, but usually we go inside because it's more dramatic, more impacting, makes the video more likely to go viral, right? And so, because then like employees are coming up and like you gotta get out of here and stuff like this, right? People are flipping you off or throwing a burger at you, shit like that. Some people are applauding you. So all those different reactions are really cool. So yeah, we'll go inside of a restaurant or grocery store or the mall or whatever, or inside of City Hall or like some like a presidential candidate is on tour giving big speeches and will like crash his speech and run on stage with animal rights signs and stuff like that, or we'll go into slaughterhouses or factory farms, chain ourselves up to the equipment, rescue some animals, get arrested, get media coverage that way, and then try to fight it out in court to get even more media coverage and try to set a legal precedent for rescuing animals from distress. So there's a lot of different kinds of activism.
So would you like say that you caused a little bit of destruction then?
Well, it's nonviolent. That's really important to know because that's like more effective and more ethical. So nonviolent and like love based, where like we love everybody. We're trying to be patient and merciful and understanding, but we are fucking mad about animal cruelty, like everyone should be, and we are trying to let everyone know that it's totally appropriate to be mad, but we're trying to have anger at the system and compassion for the individuals who are caught up in that system. So anger at animal cruelty, but love for the perpetrators, because people can change and stuff like that. And that also makes us look better to the audience who's watching, stuff like that. Did that answer your question?
Yeah.
But yeah,
so let me just say right now.
Real
I
quick.
mean, I'm not against vegans or anything. I'm fine with what they do. I think it's good.
Let me clarify.
They're trying to find alternatives to God. But.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but let me just clarify as far as like destruction of property. That's not usually what happens during these non-violent rescues or big protests. We're not breaking anything or burning anything or anything or stealing anything or anything like that. So,
are you you go in stores and like take the meat and do stuff with it, or
not usually, no.
there
has been occasions where we've put like a flower on a piece of a dead body, because it was like a funeral kind of action. We're all dressed in funeral attire and stuff, and we just laid a flower on a piece of meat in a butcher area. There was another time. No, I think that's about it. We usually don't touch those products. Yeah, sometimes, but rarely.
All right. I mean, this is kind of unrelated, but I saw a video where like someone was like dumping blood. I don't know if it was real blood or something in like a KFC.
Yeah, that was Tash.
They're like playing some obnoxious music or something. I don't know.
Tash Peterson.
Or animal sounds.
Yeah, you can follow Tash Peterson on social media. She's really popular. Vegan booty, Tash Peterson. And the thing is, she, the reason you heard about her is because of her crazy activism, right? So, like, if she hadn't have done that, you wouldn't have heard about it, and you wouldn't be talking to me about it right now, and you wouldn't be learning about how this type of activism has been effective for all social justice movements: the women's rights movement, the gay rights movement, anti-war, environment movement, right? They all used crazy tactics like extreme protest to get the conversation started, right?
I mean, yeah, but to me that feels a little bit inappropriate. I mean,
why?
You're making people feel bad about themselves for. I mean, technically, they don't want animals killed. They just like the taste of meat.
Well, if they don't want animals killed, they can always stop, and that's what we're empowering them to do.
Like 25 million jobs are based off of like farms and stuff.
Okay, so there's two things about that. Yeah, two things about that. First of all, we can replace those jobs. Jobs always change. Like we used to watch VHS movies on a VCR, and then we went to DVDs in the '90s, and now we're all streaming on Netflix. But nobody's crying about those lost jobs, right? So I don't even know why we're bringing this up. But also, so industry changes and people adapt. They get new jobs. Businesses get replaced. But nevertheless, a corrupt, violent, animal abusing, oppressive industry has no place in our society and should be eradicated. In the same way that people were making a lot of money off of slavery, so what, right? That's not a justification to have slaves, right? So we outlawed it. And people thought, oh, you're never going to change it. The whole economy is based on slavery, and everybody supports it. You'll never win. And oh, look what happened.
The thing was, there was after slavery was abolished, jobs were created after that. I don't know about if you remove, what is it, 1/8 of the U.S. population's jobs. I don't know if you'll be able to bounce back at that. I think a couple hundreds, thousands of people would probably, die because they don't make enough money.
Well, no, look, again, they can just get other jobs. There's some cattle ranchers in Texas who went vegan and converted their ranch into an animal sanctuary. They stopped sending their animals to slaughter. They turned into a nonprofit, and now they have the Ranchers Advocacy Program where they help other animal farmers transition into plant farming, right? So the world's changing already. The Vegan Society does the same thing in the UK. Yeah, and like you said, people don't want animals to die. They don't want to kill animals, and that's why people are going vegan.
All right. Well, I mean, another thing is, I mean, I know it sounds bad, but I don't think like it's the same thing, you know, killing a dog than killing like a I don't know, a newborn cow or something like that. I mean,
Why?
to me, I'm pretty sure like they might be almost brain dead, you know.
A newborn cow is brain dead?
I don't know, something like that.
Okay, let's talk about being brain dead. What brain dead means is like you're a vegetable, like you have
Oh,
no.
not like that. I'm talking about like not having like any conscious kind of like they don't know what's going on around them.
Well, it's just like a human baby, right? Like, yeah, they don't really know what's going on, but we don't like stab
Yeah,
them.
but I mean, we don't eat human babies though.
Yeah, but what's the difference between a human baby and a baby cow as far as like their awareness of the world? They're both like super
Well, there's
unintelligent.
not.
They're unintelligent at that moment, but they're still able to perceive pleasure and pain. Like they like parts of their brain will light up if you just like a human baby. Like if you cuddle them, if the mother if the mother cow is nursing her baby or cuddling with her baby, the baby's going to feel certain chemicals in their brain release, just like a human baby would, of pleasure. And if you take the baby away from the mother, they both freak out and start crying and screaming out in the distance over the separation, the loss of the stolen child. For weeks they cry. You ever seen
All
that?
right, all right.
I'll show you a video here. Everybody can go to stage 1 text. And let's see exactly what we're doing to these little animals, you know? So let's find out about dairy, right? So, dairy.
I've watched a couple of those.
Yeah, it's messed up. So,
I don't.
in case
It doesn't really affect me personally.
Okay,
So, I
well,
mean,
we can talk about that in just a second. I'm posting a video in stage 1 text called Dairy is Scary. It has 6 million views. It's only 5 million, or 5 minutes long. 5 minutes long, 6 million views, and shows you how we get milk. For
Terrence, that's not what I said. Okay.
For cheese and cheese and milk and ice cream and all that. Who would have thought that ice cream is evil?
I know nothing about veganism.
Okay.
But I say it. I know the bad side, the bad part of veganism, where like everybody is really annoying, and okay, sorry, that's a bad way to say it. But I'm here to ask a couple questions.
Okay,
like,
before you do, let me
veganism?
just say something about what you just said there. There were a lot during the civil rights movement. There were a lot of racist white people who thought Martin Luther King was really annoying.
Correct.
Right. Okay, go ahead.
Sorry, yeah, I completely worded that wrong. So what are the benefits of going vegan? Like for me as a meat eater, honestly, like I'm actually quite annoyed. Not at the vegans, personally, at myself. I just bought when I say I just bought, my mother is upstairs in my house right now at a kitchen, talking to I guess a slaughterhouse owner, and my mom just $50,000 on I think it was 48 cows.
Whoa.
So yeah, so I was kind of upset about that because when I realized that the consumers, being me and everybody else who goes out, buys Uber Eats, whatever, and they buy 20-piece chicken wings, they're actually killing 10 chickens just for their half an hour of pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm starting to realize that, I mean, me personally, I don't know how I feel about making veganism the number one and meat eating illegal, because honestly, like, I love eating meat. That is part of my day-to-day life. But what's the biggest positive? What's
Yeah,
the
sure.
biggest
Well, first I just want to say that pleasure is not a justification for animal cruelty, right? So, somebody might get pleasure out of abusing a woman, but that's not a justification. Just because you get enjoyment out of an action doesn't mean that action is justified when there's a victim, right? So, that's all we're saying. But as far as like benefits to humans from going vegan, the thing is that veganism isn't about us; it's about the animals, right? It's about justice for them. So if you go plant-based is for your health or for the environment, whereas veganism is about the animals, and it transcends our diet and also includes what we wear, like leather and fur and wool, and zoos and circuses and shit like that. But yeah, like if you go vegan, so okay, here's the main thing: when you go vegan, the best thing that happens is that animals are no longer tortured and killed needlessly, right? They're not bred into existence because there's one less consumer, right? So, and this has benefits to you in the sense that it's better for your health. So long as you're not eating Oreos and cabbage all day, a vegan diet is better for your body, right? Because there's cholesterol is only found in animal products. So animal products drastically increase your risk of heart disease because of atherosclerosis, which is plaque building up in your arteries, inhibiting the flow of blood through your body. And that plaque buildup in your arteries is because of cholesterol, which only comes from animal products, right? So our bodies make our own cholesterol, so there's no need for dietary cholesterol. There's no need to eat cholesterol. And in fact, it's really bad for you, right? And so as a vegan, I have a zero cholesterol intake, which means that my risk of heart disease is way lower than any other meat eater, right? So there's that. Lower chances of cancer. Like the World Health Organization reported that processed meats are a class 1 carcinogen, meaning they cause cancer at the same rate that cigarettes do. So processed meats are things like bacon, burgers, deli meats like turkey slices or chicken nuggets, stuff like this. Processed meats, sausage, pepperoni. Processed meats are a class 1 carcinogen according to the World Health Organization. That's the same as giving cigarettes to a child. If you give a hot dog or a piece of burger or chicken or turkey to a child, that's like giving them a cigarette. Okay, so which could easily be called that could easily be called child abuse, by the way, or child endangerment. Okay.
Sorry to interrupt you. Sorry, I'm me just for
Yeah.
my what's the word for it? Learning purposes. Could you actually give me some sites or some citations for that?
Yeah, it's the World Health. Yeah.
Just for that one thing about the hot dogs and cigarettes.
Yeah, do a Google search real quick for the World Health Organization, the WHO, right? The World Health Organization, processed meats and cancer, and it'll come up. Processed meats and cancer, World Health Organization, and then it also says in the same report that red meat is a class 2 carcinogen, meaning that it probably causes cancer. Not as strong as a class 1 like processed meats, but red meat like a steak and stuff like that is a class 2 carcinogen. Probably causes cancer. Okay. Right. There's also like links.
So I actually,
unless you want to talk about the health, I was going to talk about how veganism is better for the environment also.
Sorry, did you ask me a question?
I was just going to say one last thing about like benefits to humans from going vegan is the impact on the environment. So the climate crisis is a real thing. Everybody can go to Stage 1 text again, and I'll post some more stats and sources to explain how animal agriculture is destroying the environment. So Stage 1 text.
So is killing cows and chickens and whatnot, is that actually like hurting the earth? Is it
it's
doing
not so
anything
much,
other than like legitimately just murder?
It's not so much the killing of them as it is the raising and feeding of them, right? All the resources that are used to provide for these animals. So I just posted in Stage 1 text, meat, dairy, and eggs are destroying the environment. 70 billion land animals are raised, fed, and killed every year across the world for food that we don't need to eat. 70 billion. That's 10 times the human population. Okay, the USDA reported that it takes 16 pounds of plants to make 1 pound of beef because the farmer has to feed the cow every day for 18 months to get them up to slaughter weight. 16 to 1 ratio, plants to beef. The University of Oxford reported that raising animals takes up 75% of our farmland because we have to grow tons of crops to feed all these animals. 70% of the deforestation in the Amazon rainforest is for raising cattle to make beef. 70% of the deforestation is for beef. National Geographic reported that a vegan diet saves 600 gallons of water per person per day because we have to water the crops that are fed to the animals and give 70 billion animals water to drink. So 600 gallons of water a day. The United Nations reported that the greenhouse gases coming from raising cattle is more than the entire transportation sector, which includes all cars, trucks, trains, planes, and ships.
Right. So, another question.
Yeah.
Is tofu the number one answer? Like, is tofu only way, or is there other things?
I hardly ever eat tofu. Like, it's good. I enjoy
Really?
it. Yeah, I enjoy it sometimes. Like, I mean, I would be willing to eat it more often. It's not like it doesn't taste good or anything. It's just I prefer like vegan meat, like vegan chicken or vegan steak, vegan beef, vegan
Right.
sausage. Or I like tofu though. It soaks up the sauce of whatever you're cooking it in. It's just a soybean curd like mushed together, and yeah, it's fine. It's got a lot of protein and stuff. Rice, pasta, fruits, vegetables, seeds, nuts, beans, bread, and like I said, vegan burgers, vegan pizza, vegan chicken, vegan ice cream, vegan cheese, whatever you want. We have a vegan version of it. Vegan hot pockets with barbecue pork, barbecue shredded pork inside. Tastes and feels just the same. We put blindfolds on people and they don't know the difference between the vegan and non-vegan versions of all this stuff. So it's almost as if
Right.
there's
Can I
no
have-
reason to stab animals at all.
Can I have the same diet I have now, as long as it's just vegan? Like,
Yeah.
could I realistically have what? Like,
There's
I can have like a regular diet as just vegan.
Yeah, there's vegan fish, right? There's all kinds of stuff. It might be a little harder to find like vegan lobster or like a vegan steak that's exactly the same. Like steak is something we're still working on, but the technology is just improving with every year that passes. But in the meantime, some of us have to take a little bit of uncomfortability, a little bit of an inconvenience to save some lives and the environment and people's health and uh, help progress society into a more fair and just place. But another benefit to going vegan for humans is that it helps us become more. It helps us become better at critical thinking and to get rid of our biases and to expand our compassion and get rid of our speciesism, this arbitrary line of discrimination. It's not good for us to be thinking in such a fallacious way.
Is that more or less expensive?
Depends on what you're
Like
buying.
for
Depends on what you're buying. So, like, again, one last thing I was going to say about health is, like, if you're eating those vegan burgers and vegan sausage and shit all day, then that's not the healthiest way to eat vegan. The best diet is to eat a whole foods, plant-based diet when it comes to your health. So that would be, like, not processed foods. So that would be more like just your straight, like, fruits and vegetables. Maybe, I guess, I don't know if rice and pasta are considered whole foods. Those are processed, but they're still that's fine. Don't worry about rice and pasta. Like that's going to be healthy for you too. But yeah. So in any case, the price. So yeah, like the cheapest foods in the grocery store are vegan: rice, pasta, fruits, vegetables. Seeds, nuts, beans, bread. A big old bag of rice and beans and bread. Like, dude, you're stocked up for like a week. Put some sauce on there. It's all about the seasoning. And then, but if the vegan burgers are a little bit more expensive than a regular burger right now. It might depend on the brand you get. Some vegan burgers are super cheap, but they're not going to be as tasty as the expensive vegan burger, like the Beyond Meat or the Impossible Burger. So right now at Burger King, you can get a regular Whopper for $1 less than the vegan Whopper. So yeah, pay $1 more and you save some lives and improve the world. So. And soon, they'll all be the same price. And then soon after that, you won't be able to find meat. Burger King will only have vegan burgers for you, so you'll have to go vegan.
So is it possible that most people don't, or physically, or economically can't go vegan because maybe they can only afford that $1.50 or burger rather than the $2 vegan burger.
Sure. So, like there are vegan options at the dollar menu at Taco Bell and Burger King. You know, you got like a rice and bean burrito. You got fries. They got salads there. They got apple slices and stuff like that. And so yeah, but I understand like if you don't have access to plant foods, then you're not the person we're talking to. You're not our target audience. We're trying to like aim at people who are in a more stable, like privileged situation. Not that being vegan is a privilege necessarily, but our society is not a vegan society. It's a very speciesist culture that is, you know, like you're gonna go outside and see 100 restaurants, and maybe one of them are vegan, you know, and some of them will have decent vegan options, but most of them are just focused on animal products. So we realized that, you know, it's not super easy right now. It's easy enough that most of us can do it, but I'm not trying to make a single mother who's working 3 jobs just, you know, doesn't have time to cook, and, you know, I'm not trying to make her feel like a bad person. But you and I, we need to like make it easier for her to go vegan. So we need to like buy these products and enhance the animal rights movement so that there's more vegan options for her at Taco Bell or whatever.
Right. Right. All right. Yeah. All right. Thank
We
you very
also
much.
we also need to abolish capitalism so that she doesn't have to work 3 jobs, right? She shouldn't have to work that much. She should be able to just enjoy her life and contribute to society in some basic way and spend the rest of her time having fun feeding her family with healthy plant foods. But that's another subject.
All right. I promise. Last question. Is there any way that we can make cheaper Beyond Meat, Impossible Burgers, or whatever it's called?
Yeah, definitely. So it's already happening. The prices are decreasing. The reason that meat is like the reason that there's cheap meat out there is because of government subsidies. So government subsidies is where the government uses our tax dollars to bail out Wall Street, or, you know, the big banks, or the big car like GM and stuff like that when they tank, or if there's a recession or something like that, or they're losing profits, or the big meat and dairy and egg industry, right? The government gives them money so that they can sell their products for cheaper, right? So it's like I said, it takes 16 pounds of plants to make 1 pound of beef, and all the water we have to use to keep these animals alive until we slaughter them. So it's actually really, really unaffordable to make meat, dairy, and eggs. It's super expensive, but the government makes it inexpensive by using our tax dollars to lower the price. So instead, we could just get rid of the meat, dairy, and egg industry, only produce plants. Those plants will be super cheap to produce and will cost us super cheap. But also, if needed, the government could subsidize plant agriculture instead of animal agriculture and make these plant products super, super cheap.
Right. What's the best way to start a vegan diet, or just being vegan in general?
Just do it, right? Just think about the animals instead of yourself.
Just jump right into it.
Yeah, hell yeah, jump right into it. Like, look, baby steps are for babies. You a big, strong man. Don't worry about it. Don't be scared. You're going to be fine. It ain't that hard. You're smart and you're strong. You can do it. The animals need your help. Just think about the victims and the brutality instead of yourself, your own pleasure or habits or convenience or taste buds and what everybody else is doing and what society expects of you. Do the right thing, right? Stand up for justice and make this world a better place. And just think about it. If you were in the victim's shoes, you would hope that somebody would help you out. So watch some slaughterhouse videos.
Honestly, if people like I don't, sorry to interrupt again, but I don't watch the slaughterhouse videos because it's terrorizing. But I am a frequent meat eater, and I do feel bad. Like, I don't feel bad when I'm eating meat, but when my mom buys $50,000 of cow in one day just for her pleasure, it's like.
Well, I don't see. I hear you, but I don't really see a difference between you and your mom in that situation, man. So that's why I'm saying, like, you gotta rise above, you know. So I think it's important for us to watch the slaughterhouse videos because it provides us with motivation to make a change, right? Because it's like an abstract thing in your head. Oh, animals die to make meat, big deal, right? But as soon as you start see them kicking and screaming and fighting to stay alive and running away from us as we try to cut their little heads off, and then protecting their babies from us. And you realize, what bullies we are, and it's disgusting, and it makes you sad and angry, and makes you want to fight against this cruelty. So I would recommend that you watch this video that I'm posting in Stage 1 Text. Everybody go to Stage 1 Text. This is a video I made called Warning, and it's on YouTube, and it has 800,000 views. It's only 12 minutes long, and it goes through what happens to pigs, and then birds, cows, and fish. So check that out and let me know what you think. And but yeah, because if it was happening to you, you would hope that somebody would watch the evidence of how you're being treated and then take action to save you and your friends and family.
And also, I do think you have a really good point. If somebody were to kill her, that would be like somebody killing a disabled person. I think that actually makes sense.
Thanks. Yeah, like, I mean, sure, there's going to be differences between a mentally disabled human and a pig. If, like, let's imagine that this specific mentally disabled person is only as smart as a pig. There's still going to be some differences between them, or, differences in that, like, their family relationships and stuff like that. But all of that, like, at the end of the day, is irrelevant in the sense that they both feel pain and pleasure and they want to live, and killing somebody for being less intelligent than us is ableism. It doesn't matter whether it's a human or an animal. And I mean, we could get brain damage tomorrow and be as smart as a pig. Would we want people to treat us with respect, or stick a knife in our neck, right? So, yeah.
It's really the same as the Slavery Act. Like people made them do that because they had more I forget the word for it, but it's like just because they look different than you and they taste better than you might kill them. I mean, I just find that sad, and honestly, I hate to hear it, and especially hate to see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think euphemism is a very good idea, and I don't. I mean, I'm not hating on Cat Loaf or whatever she was saying or they were saying, but I think that her, with no evidence with what she was saying or they were saying, I don't think it was very good of her to say that. And honestly, I think people just don't trust in the system enough, or the vegan system, that it's not going to be the norm or the new trend or whatever. But realistically, not realistically, it is the new trend. Like, people need to start doing this.
Yeah, and a lot of people are going plant-based for their health or for the environment, and those people are more likely to defect and go back to eating animals, or to cheat on their diet sometimes or stuff like that, as opposed to like an ethical vegan is doing it for the animals and is not likely to make any cheat days or to go back to eating animals. But it does help the animal rights movement that people are going plant-based for their health or for the environment, because that increases the amount of plant foods that are sold, and the popularity of eating a vegan diet, even if you're not vegan, doing it for the animals, So yeah, so it all helps, and yeah, the environment is a big thing because people are really waking up to how devastating animal agriculture is for the environment, and there's already a big movement for recycling and going green and stuff like that, and electric cars and stuff. So that'll help us a lot as well.
Right. Realistically, do you think veganism can change the world? Like,
yeah,
for better?
Yeah, definitely. Like in the next, I think in the next 10, 20, 30 years, what we're going to see is small progressive cities all over the world going vegan, like outlawing the sale of meat and dairy and eggs, and implementing an animal bill of rights into their local legislation. And so that animals can't be owned or sold or bred or killed and things like this. And so certain small progressive cities will start doing this, and then it'll spread to bigger cities, and then entire states, and then other states will join, and then it'll become a federal law. And this is just like what happened with the gay rights movement, the gay marriage movement, and then other countries will will follow whatever country does it first, and it'll spread. I don't know if it'll ever be like, a vegan world, but we're going to do the best we can, and hopefully, in the same way that we have international human rights laws, we will eventually have international animal rights laws. It's good when people troll us, and when people make fun of us on their social media, because that drives people to this channel to talk to us, and then they learn more. Somebody told me yesterday, I think it was, that he was watching a YouTube channel, kind of like what you're talking about probably, and he said that they were trolling, that YouTube channel was trolling our Discord server, and that he was watching that, and it motivated him to come to the Discord to talk to us, to ask us questions and to hear what we have to say. And once he got here, all the points we were making sense, and he's told us that, and he's like, I think I'm actually going to go vegan now. And so, that's, people talking shit about us is better than people not talking about the issue at all.
That's literally like the exact story I'm going through. Like, I watched this video probably 3-4 days ago, and I'm like, hey, I found this server, I'm going to join it and express how this has made me feel.
That's awesome. Yeah, so you're just another example of that. So bring on, let the haters hate. All right, cool. Well, it was nice talking to you. I appreciate the conversation, and follow me on YouTube, and talk to us again soon. All right, cheers.
So tell me, so you vote to push veganism. You want people to be vegan, and you want them to support the animals, right?
Yep.
Okay. So tell me realistically how you're going to do that by comparing disabled people to pigs.
Okay, yeah, a lot of people find that argument convincing, and they go vegan and become an anti-speciesist as a result of that argument. So I think it's a very fair analogy. Upsetting to some, sure, but I think it's very appropriate, and people shouldn't get offended. They should see, hold on, hey, if you want to hear my answer, you have to listen. So I think a lot of people are open-minded and are willing to see clearly that using someone's intelligence as a justification for violence is arbitrary discrimination, violence for an unnecessary reason, right? And so usually when I talk to people and I'm like, why is it okay to kill animals but not humans? The first thing they always say, like pretty much, is, well, animals aren't as smart as us. They can't build big societies. They can't communicate to us. Has a pig ever told you they don't want to die and become bacon? Stupid, ridiculous things I hear all the time, right? So when people say, well, it's okay to kill a pig because they're stupid, well, then I show them a human who's as smart as a pig, and I say, well, by your logic, this is a stupid person, and if intelligence is the reason you're giving for cutting off an animal's head, then by that logical extension, the conclusion of your position is that we should be able to cut the heads off of mentally disabled people.
Okay.
But we're against that, right? We're against ableism. And so why are we using ableism or ableist language as a justification to oppress animals?
Okay. Couple of things. A, how dare you
I?
suggest something like that? B, do you support bestiality?
No, you do, by buying milk. You know those animals are sexually abused, forcibly impregnated, their babies taken away and killed so that you can drink milk?
Pause. Okay. Cool. So tell me, right, so cows naturally produce that milk and are physically hurt if they can't release that, regardless of whether or not they are pregnant?
No,
But, go off, I guess.
Yeah, no, so the only reason that cows produce milk is to feed their babies. Just like a human or a monkey or a dog, mothers produce milk for their babies. And the only reason that cows produce more milk than they naturally would is because farmers have been genetically modifying and selectively breeding cows for generations to have giant breasts that cause them extreme pain and udder infections and mastitis and breast cancer. So if instead we, like if a cow who already exists is in pain and needs to be milked, first of all, where's her baby? Let the baby drink the milk instead of killing the baby so we can eat veal. But if the
she doesn't have to should she just suffer?
But if the baby drinks enough milk and the mother still has more milk in her and it's causing her pain, then we should milk her and give that milk to orphaned animals or throw it away, because it's not a product for us and we don't need to be selling it. We should stop breeding these animals into existence because their bodies are painful for them because of the way we've created.
Okay, so it's fine to let a cow suffer simply because it does not have a child. Yes?
I don't know what you mean. I said milk them if they need to be milked, if it relieves their suffering.
But we shouldn't use that because it's definitely not okay.
Yeah, because
it's not like most people kind of need that, though.
People need
right?
milk.
It's useless, obviously.
People need cow's milk. Do you need dog's milk or chimpanzee milk? Do you need human milk? So it's funny because humans are the only humans. Yeah, humans are the only animal that drink milk past infancy. We should have weaned off the tit back when we were little babies, all right? But our parents tricked us into thinking that we should be drinking cow's breast milk for some weird reason. And you're not a baby cow, bro, so get your mouth off that cow's nipple. It's strange, all right? And they suffer and they are killed. All of these animals, like the mothers, their babies are taken away on the day of their birth, and they cry out into the distance over the loss of their stolen child. Their baby is murdered if he's a boy and turned into veal meat, okay, which I used to enjoy. And then if it's a baby girl, she is put into rotation like her mother, where and the mother will be again forcibly re-impregnated, where they are tied down, and a farmer extracts sperm from a bull, a male cow, by jacking him off, masturbating a bull, getting sperm from him, and then putting his hand into the female cow's vagina while she's restrained and trying to get away. He puts his full arm up her anus to move the cervix down so that he can then put a metal pole with bull sperm at the end of it into her. Hold on, into her vagina to forcibly impregnate her, and then she is pregnant for 9 months, just like a human. And once she gives birth, her baby is taken by the farmer. They freak out over this, and the baby is killed, and then the mother is forcibly re-impregnated. And this happens for about 3 or 4 times, and then the mother is spent. She can no longer produce any more milk or any babies, and so she is murdered. Even though her natural lifespan is 25 years old, she's killed when she's 4 years old, sent to a slaughterhouse, and we feed her murdered body to our children.
Okay.
You want to see the evidence?
No.
Yeah, you don't want to see the truth, the proof?
So if animals are so sentient, shouldn't they be able to say yes to sex or something?
What?
I don't know, you just seem like someone who's fucked a pig before.
So you're trying to bring bestiality into it and trying to make me look like an animal abuser who sexually exploits animals. It's funny, like I just said, she deleted herself, unless somebody else deleted her. Yeah, like I said, I'm an animal defender. I'm a vegan, right? So we're trying to liberate these animals, protect them from you. You're the one who is sexually assaulting these animals with your dollar. Every time you buy milk or eggs or meat, you're paying for an animal to be forcibly impregnated by a human. And that's bestiality. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Pretty good.
What happened to those animals? Because, I mean, there would be no point to their existence.
Yeah, that's a good question. So it's going to be a gradual progression into a more vegan world. So it's not going to happen overnight, right? Not millions of people are going to go vegan overnight, right? So it's going to happen over the next few decades and stuff. So more plant foods are going to be sold, less animal products will be sold because more people will be going vegan. And so the farmers will see this coming, this change in society and market demand and supply and demand. And so the farmers will stop breeding so many animals into existence once there's less of a demand for those meat, dairy, and egg products. So once we finally pass the law that shuts down all the slaughterhouses, at least in our country or our city or whatever, however it starts, once we have enough people to support that legal change, then the amount of animals existing at that point will be lower than what it currently is. because of that gradual progression in the market towards more veganism, right? But those animals who are left over at that point, we'll put them into animal sanctuaries. Where they're treated with respect and care, and they're happy, safe, and free, and they get belly rubs and friends to hang out with, and good food and veterinary care, and they're never slaughtered. And but we just stop breeding them. That's the main thing. Is just stop breeding these animals into existence, and then we won't have to worry about future generations of them that we have to house and feed and stuff like that.
There's extras after. We just throw them out.
Yeah, I would say give that that extra meat that no human is going to eat. I would say give that either to some homeless people or to some animals that need food. There are like for example, there are some people have like snakes as a pet, and in order to feed the snake, they have to like get a bunch of mice, and the mice and the snake will eat the mice alive. And instead of doing that, I would say like give these pieces of meat to that snake or something like that. So there's different things we could do with that, or we could just throw it away, or use it in a protest, to like make a point or something, or give it a burial, because this is the dead body of somebody who wanted to live. It's not a product. It's not just some. And I mean, now it's an inanimate object, because we commodified them, we objectified these animals. But there's a few different options we could do. But even throwing it away, I mean, it's sad that like an animal was killed literally for nothing, not even for somebody's pleasure, because all this meat isn't even being eaten, right? But yeah, I would say give it to some animals or to some homeless people or something like that. Do you not empathize with any animals, even dogs and cats? Like, were you raised with pets or?
No, my cat, I guess.
It's okay. Look, I've studied psychology a lot, and so I might understand that maybe you're a sociopath or a psychopath, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? That doesn't mean, and you might not be. I'm not a psychologist, so I'm not trying to diagnose you. I'm just saying some people are sociopaths or psychopaths, where they just their brain is different. Either they were born this way if they're a psychopath, or they were conditioned this way if they're a sociopath, like their environment created this kind of thing. But sometimes people's brains won't function in the exact same way as a normal person. A sociopath or a psychopath can still be very smart and can still treat people and animals with compassion, even if they don't actually genuinely feel it in their heart. They can realize through logic that it would be a better world if everybody was nice to each other. I wouldn't want somebody to mistreat me, and so I shouldn't mistreat them. Even if I don't care about them, it makes sense that I shouldn't do that to them, because I wouldn't want it done to me, stuff like that. So logic can still work even if your empathy doesn't. But also, there's a lot of sociopaths and psychopaths who are not violent. Like, I think only 1% of the population is psychopath, and of that 1%, maybe only like 1% of that 1% is violent or something. So it doesn't mean that they're a serial killer or anything. It just means that they lack empathy. And if that's something you can't control, then that's not your fault, right? But the idea is to try to evolve your empathy. I wrote a movie called Evolving Empathy, and either train yourself to become empathetic towards others, or just realize that you should pretend to be empathetic even if you can't. I saw a TED talk, like a speech by a guy who's a psychopath, and he said that he doesn't have any violent urges, but he doesn't care if he sees somebody suffering. Like, he has no instinct to help them or anything. But he realizes that he should act as though he cared, because that's a better way for him to fit in with society, and also that would help society function, and that benefits him. A better functioning society is better for him, and stuff like that. So and he wouldn't want to be mistreated. So yeah, so it's pretty cool stuff. What do you think about all that?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Watching these vegan documentaries.
Dominion.
Yeah. watched that one, and it didn't affect my point of view, and it did nothing. But I found I don't know, I find quote unquote pleasure watching that stuff, and just I don't know how to explain it.
Okay. Well,
But,
like I said, you're not. I don't think people are really able to control necessarily all of our thoughts uh, or our beliefs. We either are persuaded of something or we aren't, right? Uh, so I want you to be a little worried about yourself because a lot of serial killers start by killing animals, and you want to just make sure that even if you don't have empathy for someone, or even if you have a violent urge, try to hold yourself back, right? Don't like, I have a bunch of urges. We all have instincts that we should not fulfill because they're not good for other people or other animals or for ourselves. And so we have to learn restraint and self-control and try to do our best. So it's not your fault that you get pleasure from watching animals suffer. But try to realize what's actually going on there in your head and for the animal and what their experience is like, and try to put yourself in their perspective and realize that if somebody was doing this to you, you would want someone to help you, stuff like that. And yeah, just get a therapist. Therapy is good. Like I have a therapist, and it's really helpful to talk to somebody, and they won't judge you. They'll listen to you, unless it's a bad therapist. Then find a better therapist. But yeah, talk to somebody about all that, and they might be able to help you also.
just eating meat as the instinct, and I don't know. How do you like expect us to change it so drastically?
Sure. Yeah, so just like with women's rights or gay rights or anything like that, other social justice movements, women and gay people have been oppressed for thousands of years and murdered and not being allowed to vote or to work or to be themselves. And then 100 years ago, a small group of activists said, we're not going to take this anymore. As far as women's rights, they said, we're not going to take this anymore 100 years ago. And they started protesting and doing outreach and demanding justice and getting arrested and getting in the news and stuff. And they won. And they won the right to vote. And there's still progress to be made for women in our societies, but a lot of progress has been made. And same with the gay rights movement. Gay people were abused and oppressed for thousands of years. But then in a very short amount of time, things change. Once the ball starts rolling and activists start standing up for themselves, society changes. So I have hope for the future.
I think I would try it out to be vegan.
Cool.
And if I can find it or can become it, then I will. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, just know that you are strong and smart, and you can do it, and the animals really need your help.
First of all, I'd like to apologize on behalf of everyone who wasn't necessarily respectful.
Thanks, buddy.
In the way that I did with you.
It's okay. I'll get over it.
You'll get people like that on each side of any two parties against each other.
Yeah.
I mean, the title, right? The meat should be illegal. I don't want to sound discouraging or sound like a hater, but I really don't think that's going to be possible.
Okay, why not?
Why not? Okay, so meat itself, it's a part of so many cultures. It's a delicacy in many places and religions and cultures, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to try to make it illegal, and illegal is a strong word, is in my opinion, a stretch. I think you can get people to switch to being vegan, and you can keep doing that, but making it illegal is a stretch.
Are you more concerned with the pragmatics of how we're going to do it and whether we actually can, or,
No.
or should we?
I don't think you should.
Okay.
If it's a matter of should or shouldn't, I don't think you should make it illegal, but I think you should try to like convert people, that's totally fine. I
Okay.
think so. But if someone isn't convinced, I don't think they should go to jail if they eat meat. You know what I mean?
Okay. So
The thing is, like imagine, like, I mean, how, and not everyone is going to get convinced, and that's the issue you have, is that you're not going to be able to convince everybody, because, like, imagine that grandma's meatloaf is now illegal. You know, like, it's a big change that you're trying to make.
yeah.
And I know I know you compared it to, like, slavery and sexism, and sure, those things changed because they were deeply wrong in so many ways. But this, I mean, I know how similar it sounds to you, and I can see it through your point of view, but it's really not the same, in my opinion.
Well, can you show me
That
how?
makes sense.
Can you show me how it's not the same?
I can try. You know, I don't know if I'll convince you, but I can show you I can tell you what my opinion is.
Yeah, go for it.
I think it's not going to change, because the thing with sexism and racism, sorry, I'm struggling to find words, but the thing with those is that they were problems within our society. They were, like, basically we felt for people who were slaves because they were literally humans. And I know at the time they weren't seen as humans. They were seen as, you know, whatever you want to call them at the time, some horrible, you know, the N-word or monkeys or whatever, which is terrible. But they were still humans, and they could talk, and they could walk, and they can work, and they can understand. And after some time, and it took longer than it should have, by the way, but after some time, we finally realized that this is wrong, and we can't keep treating people and humans who are a different skin color as animals. And we were right in doing that. Racism is terrible.
Yeah.
I think everyone can agree on that. And the thing is, let me say something. I don't think anyone argues that killing animals is okay.
Well,
Even
they do.
non-vegans.
No, they do. They do.
No.
I deal with it all day.
No. Hear me out. I don't think anyone. Let me make myself a bit more clear. I don't think anyone argues that taking a life, an animal life, a human life, any life, is okay. And if they do, they're messed up.
They do. I hear it every day, all day.
Okay, then they're messed up. But if we're gonna be on the rational side of things, I don't think anyone. You can see my roles. I'm not a vegan, but I think killing animals is wrong. Unnecessarily. Like, if we lived in a utopia and there was some solution to this whole problem that had no compromises, then sure, I don't think anyone would not want that.
Okay, so
But the world isn't perfect.
yeah,
And
I
I'm
know.
sorry, I'll let you speak.
No, that's cool.
Just a second. And the world isn't perfect. And the thing is, the thing with making it illegal, that's exactly my point, is that in a perfect world, if there was some type of solution, maybe it would be illegal, but it's going to be really hard. Like, it already took so long to make people agree that black people aren't slaves or are just humans, just like you white people.
Yeah.
So it's going to take even longer, if it was possible at all, to make people think that animals are even smart enough to comprehend what they're missing out on. I mean, listen to this. You can literally take a dog, sedate him, put him under surgery, amputate one of his limbs, and let him reawaken into consciousness, and he'll be running around being as happy as he was before you sedated him, because he doesn't understand what just happened to him. He's just as happy. He doesn't have a concept of what just happened.
No, he's still okay. There's two things about that. The dog is still not having as good of a life because they are now needlessly disabled. They are also they will be having an experience of, where did my arm go?
But I don't think their attention span goes longer than 2 seconds. They'll think about it, maybe, if at all, and then forget about it, and then go be like, "Oh, where's the ball?"
Okay.
They're gonna go chase it.
So does that mean,
Like, I've seen. Do you know Vet Ranch?
I
YouTube
understand.
channel?
No, I don't. But I understand that dogs live more in the moment than humans. But I don't see why any of that is a reason to stab dogs.
It's not a reason.
Well, then what are you talking about?
And I don't think I'm just telling you that I think you make up or think that animals are way smarter than they actually are.
Well, pigs are as smart as
Like, sure.
No, hold on. Pigs are as smart as 3-year-old children. Pigs are smarter than dogs.
That statement, I've heard that statement before, and the problem with it is it says something, but okay, let me say it this way.
I can prove it if you want. I have a video.
I know about that statement. I know it's scientifically accurate. I agree with that statement, actually.
Okay.
But the way it's worded is misleading.
Why?
Because a 3-year-old child would be able to speak, have facial expressions, solve problems. I know a pig can solve problems, but that's I think as far as it goes.
Yeah, pigs have facial features as well, facial expressions. They have their own language. Okay, just because somebody doesn't speak your language doesn't mean it's okay to kill them.
No, it's not about speech.
Plus, also
It's
like
about the-
like a
like, if you
3-year-old,
put a
a
pig in
3-year-old can't take care of themselves. A full-grown pig can take care of themselves. They can nurture their babies. So pigs are probably like even smarter than 3 or 4-year-olds. So, but either way, all of this is irrelevant. Like you're using ableist language as an excuse to
No,
justify.
not ableist.
No, you are. You're using ableism as a justification for animal cruelty. So this is the problem we have, right? What's the difference between a human and an animal? You're saying we're smarter than them. They're not that smart. Well, I can show you a mentally disabled human who's only as smart as a pig, and therefore therefore, by your conclusion, like the conclusion of your argument, is that well, if they don't meet a certain threshold of intelligence, it's okay to kill them.
My friend, look, I don't know of any genetic or mental condition that makes a human as smart as a pig, and if there is, I would love to hear.
Okay, I'll show
it's
you.
Called.
I'll show you. So there are a lot of people who are mentally disabled, or have brain damage, who are smarter than pigs. Some who are about equal with pigs, and some who are far less intelligent than pigs or cows or chickens. These humans exist, and they still value their lives. They don't contribute to society in any meaningful way, but they have friends and families that they enjoy hanging out with. Music they like, animals like music too. These people enjoy, just like animals, they enjoy the sun on their back, a nice warm sunny day, playing in a field with their friends. Basic stuff. Why would we take that from them when we don't need to?
Chase, I get your points. Actually, I agree with some of them. But what I'm trying to say, and like I'm having trouble articulating. English isn't my first language, but I'm just trying to say one thing, and I guess it's not coming through correctly. What I'm trying to say, and the reason I mentioned the dog having their limb amputated, is that a pig. Yeah, I'm saying they're not as smart as us, but they're not as smart, or not smart enough to understand how unfair we're treating them, and that doesn't make it any more okay.
Well, wait a sec. Yeah.
It's just that the pig isn't going through any suffering like we think it is.
Okay, first of all, these animals these animals who are kept in cages are freaking out. They are terrified. They are driven insane through lack of stimulation, and just like you would go insane from being stuck in a cage. Okay, now there may be slight differences between your experience and theirs, but they are freaking out and they need our help, and they don't deserve to be there. They did nothing wrong. They did nothing wrong, and it doesn't matter. Like And even if they didn't realize, or if we sneak up behind them and shoot them in the back of the head so they don't realize they're about to be killed, we could say the exact same thing about a mentally disabled person. We could say, well, they're not aware that we're about to kill them, so let's just kill them. Or we could chop off their... Or we have no need to eat animals, bud. Or we could say, well, we're gonna put this... we're gonna put this human with mental disabilities, we're gonna put them under the surgery, under the knife, anesthesia, and we're going to cut off one of their arms or legs, right? And then we'll wake them back up, and just like the dog, they won't know any better. They won't, so who cares? No harm, no foul. Let's eat their arms.
Chase, we do need to eat animals. It actually is necessary.
How so?
Okay, prime example. Babies cannot survive on a vegan diet.
Untrue. I need you to back that up with some scientific studies.
Okay, if you don't feed a baby any, I guess, baby food with animal products in it, they will have vitamin B12 deficiency.
Nope. All right, so ready? Do you have any science to back up your arguments? Because I do.
Yeah. Yes, I mean, here's the thing. Vitamin B12 is not... the human body is not able to naturally produce vitamin B12. it's impossible. You need to get it from the resources that you eat.
Yeah.
And no plant has enough or sufficient, or at all actually, vitamin B12s.
Okay, so
to support go ahead.
Vitamin B12 is a bacteria that grows in soil and fresh water, but because of our industrialization and high sanitization of plant foods, we wash off all of the pesticides, and in doing so, we wash off all the soil and the B12. And the animals that people eat from farms are fed B12 supplements. The farmer puts vitamins into their food so that they eat B12, and then when you eat their flesh, that's how you get B12. Vegans, on the other hand, are just eating the B12 vitamin directly instead of filtering it through a corpse. So now I'm posting in stage 1 text. I already posted a video just now of a severely mentally and physically disabled woman named Bree, who is probably of less.
Okay.
Hold on. Middle of a sentence. Sorry. Middle of a sentence though.
No, side note.
Is that this person is far less intellectually capable than any of the animals you eat. And now I'm going to read the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics about the health. Are you ready?
Just 1 second. There's a guy named William who DM'd me. No, but we don't need to eat meat. There's vitamin B12 supplements. Okay, there are. Do you think it's a good idea to make the whole human population survive on pills?
Yeah, so doctors recommend, whether you're vegan or not, that everyone take a daily multivitamin to make sure you're getting enough vitamin D, vitamin B12.
That's for people who have special needs. That's why they need vitamin pills.
I'm answering.
Normal people get it.
Middle of a sentence,
okay.
bud. I'm in the middle of a sentence. I'm answering your question. Doctors recommend that everybody take these. They are safe, they are affordable, and they are a sure way of making sure that you get all the essential vitamins and minerals and nutrients that you need. 40% of Americans are deficient in B12, and the vast majority of them are meat eaters.
Yeah. Okay, but it does exist in meat. Actually, meat, fish, dairy, and a lot of other things. And having a society living off of pills to get their vitamins does not seem natural to me.
Well, it doesn't matter if it's natural or not. Look, illness, disease is natural, and yet we come up with man-made or human-made medicines, unnatural medicines to get rid of...
That's a bad analogy.
No, it's a great analogy. I can come up with more, too, to get rid of natural diseases, right? That's a naturalist fallacy, an appeal to nature fallacy, saying that... Hold on, middle of a sentence, though, dude. Right?
But you misunderstood me.
No, look, naturalist fallacy... Okay. To say that something exists in nature, therefore it's good, or that we should replicate that behavior, that's a naturalist fallacy. So a lion is a carnivore and kills animals in order to survive. They don't know any better, and they have no other choice. We, on the other hand, are civilized humans who can make compassionate choices. We are therefore held to a higher moral standard. A lion would kill a child, a human child, if given the opportunity. Are we therefore justified in killing children simply because a lion would, or are we held to a higher moral standard?
Is that a question? Rhetorical?
That's a question. It's a question. Are we justified in killing children because lions would? It's part of nature.
I think
happens.
Chase is lagging.
It happens in nature.
Chase, you're lagging.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can hear you now. Can you go back 10 seconds?
Yeah, so what I was saying is that just because something happens in nature doesn't mean it's good. Okay, but also...
you're lagging again.
Okay, just because something happens in nature doesn't automatically make it good. If we can find better ways, like nature is cruel. There's a lot of suffering, needless suffering in nature that we should try to do away with, right? And plus there's already enough suffering in the world that I don't want to add to it. I want to minimize the amount of suffering in the world, right? But I think we still have a point to make about health. So I posted this in stage 1 text, in addition to all the vegan bodybuilders that I posted earlier. But The Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics is the world's largest organization of food and nutrition experts with 100,000 registered dietitians, and their position is that an appropriately planned vegan diet is healthy, nutritionally adequate, and may provide health benefits for the prevention and treatment of certain diseases such as heart disease, type 2 diabetes, hypertension, certain types of cancer, and obesity. These nutrition experts confirm that a vegan diet is appropriate for all stages of life cycle, including pregnancy, lactation, infancy, childhood, adolescence, older adulthood, and for athletes. This is also supported by the Dietitians of Canada.
Modified.
This is supported by the Dietitians of America, Canada, Britain, Australia, the USDA, Harvard, Mayo Clinic, etc.
A modified vegan diet.
Well, look, dude, there's no harm in taking a multivitamin, and if taking a multivitamin and eating a whole foods plant-based diet will drastically decrease the risk of heart disease and cancer, then yeah, taking a multivitamin would be way worth it for a society to do. You know, the main killer, the number one killer of humans is heart disease, and that's because of cholesterol clogging up our arteries, inhibiting the flow of blood. As a vegan, I have a zero
Hold on.
As a vegan, I have a zero cholesterol intake, which means that my risk of heart disease is way below any meat eater or vegetarian. So if you care about human rights and human health and the environment as well, I didn't even get into the environment too, but like we do not need to eat animal products.
Infants do.
Okay, you need to provide scientific studies backing up your statement because you're making you're making hold on. Hey, well, you haven't done it yet, and so I'm doubting that you'll be able to because I'm waiting. I've been waiting. I told you to do this earlier.
There was a couple.
No, look.
A vegan couple.
No, listen. I've shown you literally hundreds of thousands of registered physicians and dietitians, nutrition experts all over the world, major bodies of health organizations who confirm my position. So, what you got? I need a source. I want a source of a scientific study.
There is a source. Okay, I don't know if I'll be able to provide a source.
Like not just some random article from some newspaper that hates vegans.
Not even anything. I'll just tell you this. There was a vegan couple who had their newborn on a planetary vegan diet. They got arrested for child abuse because their newborn had nutrition deficiency. They had malnutrition basically.
Okay.
And
where was this? Who is this person? What's the name of the family?
I didn't look into it. It was on the news.
Okay, so what's the source? Where's the article? Like, send it to me. Here's the thing. You're bringing up anecdotal evidence, which is the lowest form of evidence that could be provided. You're just giving me one story, whereas I have given you a meta-analysis. Hold on. Middle of a sentence. Hold on. I've provided meta-analyses, research, studies from peer-reviewed journals, from hundreds of thousands of professionals, and you're pointing to some one story that you don't even know where or who it happened to. You said one story. That's all you got, and you can't even give me the details of it. And here's the funny thing. How many meat-eating parents have been arrested for child neglect? A lot more, right? And it has nothing to do with what the child was being fed in the sense of a vegan diet. If you don't get enough nutrients, you're going to get malnutrition. So that can happen on a meat-eating diet if they're not eating enough plants, or if they're not eating enough food in general, or it can happen on a vegan diet if they're only eating cabbage all day or Oreos, or if they're not eating enough food, getting enough calories. So you can easily be a vegan baby. And all the evidence shows that. So your point is moot. So unless you can come up with some really good science to back up your claim, no one's going to take it seriously.
Okay. The thing is, I'm just trying to find my words to talk with you.
Okay.
And I'm struggling to do that because, I'm not trying to call names, but you're kind of being aggressive.
Well, yeah, you're stabbing animals, and I'm fucking mad about it, dude. Like, you seem to show no regret. You seem to show no empathy, no sensitivity.
I said I can't agree on some of your points, though.
Yeah, well, great, thanks for that. But like,
I said that I don't think anyone argues that killing animals is okay, and I said anyone who does is messed up
Okay,
at the
cool.
start.
Okay, that's good. But why are you doing something that you're against?
I'm not against killing animals for no reason, just for cruelty and watching them die. Sure.
No, for pleasure. For pleasure.
There's a reason we kill them.
No, you kill them for pleasure of your taste buds, for convenience of going to the easy to shop at grocery store or restaurant. That's why you do it, because everybody else is doing it. Why do you do it?
No, I'm not doing it. Why do I do it?
Maybe before this conversation, you thought you had to eat animals in order to be healthy, but
you're telling a person, like, it's like you're telling someone that something they've been doing their whole life is wrong. I mean, whatever the topic may be that you're talking about. I mean, it doesn't sound good when you say that.
Well, sure, but deal with it.
It's like going to someone and telling them their religion is.
Yeah, well, I'm an atheist activist also, so I do that all the time too. Like, sorry, it's disruptive and like upsetting to like realize that
it's not upsetting.
You're guilty of animal cruelty, but like we gotta take the first step to change is realizing that there's a problem and then taking action, and we need each other to help educate and motivate each other to do that. And so that's all I'm trying to do. I get a little. I'm
not upset that I've been proven wrong. I'm just finding it hard to talk to you. That's all, and I'm trying to be respectful.
That's cool. Well, like, I think part of the reason, like, I'm just gonna fight back a little bit, but like, part of the reason you're having trouble finding your words is because your arguments are bullshit. Like, you need to like go do some more research about this and then get back to us, because we don't need to eat animals. There's no nutritional requirement for it. I've proven that. If you don't accept that, that's why I get upset, is when I give evidence and you ignore it.
Okay, here I have an Australian couple who put their baby daughter on a strict vegan diet that left her severely malnutrition have avoided serving a jail sentence. The couple in their 30s, who cannot be named, were sentenced to an 18-month jail term, which will be served as a community order. The girl, now 3, was malnutrition. She looked like a 3-month-old at 19 months. She was fed diet of oats, potatoes, toast, and rice, among others. The child was found with no teeth when she was taken into care earlier last year at a sentencing at Sydney's Downing Centre Court at Thursday. Judge Sarah Huggett, whatever that is, criticized the parents for putting her on a completely inadequate diet. This child was severely malnutrition, underweight, and undersized, and delayed as far as age appropriation milestones were concerned, said the judge.
Okay, that has nothing to do with the vegan diet. That has to do with what kind of food the child is eating. Like, how much food.
That's vegan diet.
No, I already told you. If you eat nothing but Oreos, listen.
Can I have a logical,
no, hold on. I'm doing that. We're both being logical. We're doing our best, okay? You can eat Oreos.
I have to ask you this.
No, I have to answer your I have to respond to what you just said. Okay, you can eat Oreos all day, nothing but Oreos, and that's vegan. But that ain't healthy, son.
I was gonna say something about that. I was telling you. Let me ask you this: what has a higher concentration of nutrients, meat or plants?
Plants.
Plants have a higher concentration of nutrients?
Yeah. So here, I'll post some more pictures. Yeah, if you want to find some sources that say otherwise, let's see them. But again, the source you brought up, what's the source?
Hold on,
wait. What is your source for that story?
I'm not providing information. I'm asking you. I'm just asking you. 500 grams of soybeans has as much nutrition as 500 grams of beef.
Soybeans versus beef. Let's see.
Or just soybeans as an example. Just 500 grams of a mix of any variety of plant you can find. And
so go
500 grams of beef.
Yeah. So first of all,
the same concentration.
Okay, listen.
The same concentration of nutrients.
Sure. Go to stage 1 text, and we're posting all kinds of vegan foods and vegan protein and all this stuff. But again, all you did was use anecdotal evidence, one story. That we don't know the full details of that case from you didn't tell me what the source of this was, just some random article from some newspaper that hates vegans, like the Daily Mail.
It doesn't hate vegans.
Well,
No, it's
what's
BBC
the BBC?
News.
Okay, all right. Well,
It's
BBC.
actually pro-vegan.
Okay, well, BBC does good sometimes and not good some other times, okay? But what you're doing is nothing compared to the sources that I brought to the table, okay? You're bringing one anecdotal evidence, one story that we don't know the details of. The people weren't
But
even
Chase-
convicted. So it could just be that they were feeding their child a vegan diet, but they weren't giving them enough food. And so they got sick.
Okay,
and
because how big are the baby stomachs? You need to fit. Oh Jesus, what is that?
It was my
You
phone.
need to fit. You need to fit way more food or way more volume of food if it's plants in a little baby's stomach than you would if it was meat, because the density or concentration of nutrients in plants is not the same as in meat.
Okay, so provide
I would have to
evidence.
way more
No,
weight-
no, I don't want to hear from you because you're not.
doesn't need
No,
evidence.
you're not a
You don't have-
nutritionist.
okay.
You're not a scientist or a nutritionist
Chase,
or a biologist.
Chase,
so I want to see
Chase,
scientists saying this. So back up your statements
Okay, this is science.
with
This is
some
science.
studies, and also
You're telling me-
realize that you're arguing against the mass consensus of the majority of experts. You think you know more than the experts?
No, but it's not decisive. I'm just trying to ask you one thing. I just want to know, if I ask you right now, what has more calories per weight, per gram, lettuce or any fucking plant?
Why does
you
it have?
want,
Okay, yeah. I was gonna say, why's it gotta be lettuce? But yeah, okay. So yeah, you could do like, look, I just showed you in stage 1 text, like vegan protein sources. There's something called seitan. Seitan
Okay.
has 75 grams of protein. There are so many different vegan athletes. Watch the Game Changers on Netflix. The Game Changers will show you plant-based athletes. There are NFL football players, mixed martial artists, marathon runners, tennis players, swimmers.
Okay, just because they're athletes doesn't mean anything.
Well,
Any adult can survive on plants. It doesn't have to be an
okay,
athlete
great.
or a baby.
Okay, but none of the sources that I provided made any kind of exemption about babies. In fact, they said babies can be vegan, right? So you're saying that they can't, or that it would be way harder, for babies to be vegan. First, you were saying babies can't be vegan. Now it sounds like you're saying they can, but so
They
you still
can't for this reason.
Okay,
Chase,
so
they
you're
cannot
still
be vegan for this reason, that they cannot get enough nutrition as they can with the amount they eat.
Okay, so I'm gonna move you. I'm gonna move you off the stage now because you're not using science to back up your claims, and you're arguing against.
No
the
one else was
you
using
are.
science
You.
either, but
I
you said
am.
so.
I'm using science. Why aren't you? So you.
Okay, I'll use science now. I'll use science now.
Yeah, next time, bud. Next time, because we've been talking for a while, and you didn't.
I need you to bring me up.
You didn't do a good job.
I mean,
what is your opinion on Wagyu beef? Because, well, I remember hearing about it basically being like, they treat the animals with much respect, like, treating them like kings. So what's your opinion on that?
Yeah, it's not respectful to cut somebody's head off.
Okay, time for the next one. We have barbecue, we have fried chicken. I don't think, like, society's gonna let that happen so, like, easily. So,
Sure.
like, what's your plan?
Yeah, it's definitely an uphill battle. You know, I'm not saying this is going to be easy, but I do think it's going to happen way sooner than anybody else realizes. I'm thinking, you know, in the next 10, 20, 30 years, small progressive cities are going to start going vegan, and then bigger cities, and then full states are going to outlaw slaughterhouses, and then it's going to spread to other states, and then become a federal law, stuff like that, just like other social justice movements. So we're already seeing the steam pick up, where the animal rights movement is also aided by people going plant-based for the environment or for their health. That helps us. And they might be more likely to actually become vegan, like animal rights activists, after that, once they get their foot in the door with those other reasons, right? So, yeah, it's all aiming our direction, and we use lots of different forms of activism, like educational outreach like this, or big protests and marches and civil disobedience, nonviolent direct action, like marches and rescuing animals from slaughterhouses and getting arrested and shutting down City Hall, stuff like that, you know, so introducing new legislation. So, yeah, I think it's going to happen.
Have you been vegan your entire life, or, like, have you, like, basically what is it? Because my next question is going to be basically around that.
No, I ate animals for 26 years and then went vegan in I stopped eating animals in 2009 when I was like 26. So I've been vegan for like 11 years.
If you have eaten meat before, you know that It's not going to be like, this meat tastes like soybean and like a little hint of beet. It's not going to be like that. So it's
What?
definitely good.
Wait a second. My vegan burgers don't taste like beets. They taste like ground beef.
And what I'm basically like saying is like, meat tastes like meat is not going to be like the same thing. So basically like,
Well, hold on though, because like we put blindfolds on people and give them a vegan burger, and they don't know the difference between the regular burger and the vegan burger, or the vegan chicken nuggets or the regular chicken nuggets.
fair, but they might just be like an idiot.
Well, no, I mean the technology is just going to keep advancing to where like we're taking over, man. Like people would much rather get the same texture and taste without an animal dying.
Yeah, that's much more preferable, but it's definitely going to be a lot of hard work.
It's already
The real
happening. It's
question-
already here.
Well, I was definitely not ready for this.
And even if we didn't have that shit, like, too bad, like, boo-hoo, sorry, but, like, then I guess you don't get any burgers anymore. You'll have to eat fucking rice, pasta, fruits, vegetables, seeds, nuts, beans, bread. Like, how spoiled and selfish are we gonna be that we're gonna be like, if I can't have all of my favorite things that I'm used to, then I'm gonna keep stabbing animals. It's like, dude, little baby, harmless, gentle animals mean us no harm. They're just like little kids. They play in a field like little kids, and we stab them. The fuck is that?
Yeah, it is very fucked, but that's not what everyone. Yeah, a lot of people want to forget that, but it is true that is happening. Well, that's all my question I have to say. So,
Cool.
Well, good luck.
Okay, thanks a lot. Follow me on YouTube.
Yeah, I will. What's your channel actually?
Just type in my name on YouTube, Chase Avier, and then I have a playlist called My Top 20 Videos. So check out that playlist.
So I have a question. I got medical issues, and I'm not sure if I can actually go vegan completely.
Okay, well, I'm sorry that you have medical issues. To the best of my knowledge, there's no medical issue where somebody would need to eat meat, dairy, or eggs because we can get all these nutrients in a plant-based diet and with a multivitamin. So, so I would do some research, like do a search on Google for whatever your disease is and vegan, and see if there are already people who have your illness who are vegan, and hear their stories and like what they eat and stuff like that. You could talk to actual professional nutritionists or dietitians. So those are different than doctors, because like a doctor will specialize in a lot of different things, but not nutrition. They only took like one nutrition class in college, in medical school, and that's a big problem because nutrition is how we prevent and reverse a lot of these illnesses, like heart disease and certain types of cancer and stuff like that. So instead of talk to your doctor, of course, but your doctor might not be an expert in nutrition, and so you want to talk to a nutritionist or a dietitian to see what they would think. Or a specialist who works with your specific illness, stuff like that. But if it turns out that you cannot survive or be healthy on a vegan diet, then you're excused. We're not trying to make you feel like a bad person if you have to eat animals to survive. It's still sad for the animals, but we don't want you to die either, and you have the right to, stay alive and have a good life and stuff. But I really doubt that any illness necessitates eating animal products.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Have a good day.
How do you feel about if there's like ranchers that have cows and stuff and they just let them roam around and live a good life and then kill them themselves, not in a painful way whenever they've lived their lives?
Okay, so there's two things about that. One is that animals are killed when they're children, because that's when it's financially profitable for the farmer to kill them. As soon as these baby animals eat enough food and put on enough weight that they reach their maximum weight, their heads are cut off, because it would be incredibly costly for the farmer to keep feeding this animal for years and years to let them have a nice, happy, long life. So he kills them when they're children. So, like, the natural lifespan of a pig is 12 years, just like a dog, 12 years old, but pigs are killed when they're only 6 months old, right? So it's like killing a puppy. Cows, the natural lifespan of a cow is 25 years old, but cows are killed when they're only 18 months old. That's a year and a half. Chickens naturally could live to be 10 years old, but these birds are killed when they're 1 month old. Because that's, yeah.
All right.
So there's that. So all the farmers are doing that, whether it's a big factory farm or a small local family farm. No farmer is going to waste money feeding these animals when this is a business. He's trying to sell their dead bodies for profit. So there's that. And then there's the other thing of a quick and painless murder is still murder, right? So yes, it's worse to torture somebody and then kill them, but it's also mean to shoot them in the head while they're sleeping, right? There's no pain and no fear, but you took everything they had, right? You got their entire existence stripped away from them, all their friends and family relationships destroyed, their continued existence snuffed out, all their the good food and fresh air and warm sunny day and playing in a field that they would have experienced taken away because we're selfish.
Yeah, well, I kind of part with you there a little bit. So you said that you used to be a Christian, like a few years ago. You said that like a long time ago today. But so as a Christian, in the Bible it says that animals don't have souls.
Oh, really?
And
you want to show me that verse real quick?
Yeah. I don't know the exact verse.
Well, that's
but
funny.
It's in Genesis.
Oh, yeah?
It's in Genesis, but it says that we were created in His image, God's image, with a soul.
Okay.
And so we have a conscience.
Okay, so hold on. So first of all, just like the other person who's coming in making claims about science and health, nutrition, that they can't substantiate because they can't give me any scientific sources, you're making these claims about the Bible and not providing, I mean, you're providing a source in that it's the Bible, but you're not being specific about what verse. And so I can't even check to see if what you're saying is true. So if you want to show me that verse where it says in the Bible that animals don't have souls, I'd love to see it, because I have a Bible verse that says the opposite, right? It says in Ecclesiastes 3:21, who knows if the human soul rises upward and if the soul of the animal goes down into the earth? Okay, so not only does your book say that animals actually do have souls, and it says that we don't know whether or not their souls are going up or down. So so I find it unfortunate for you that I know your religion better than you do, but it's because I was raised Christian and I'm an atheist activist, so I look at this stuff a lot. But your own book contradicts your point.
Okay, well, the verse that you read didn't exactly say that animals have souls, but
I'll read it again, and then it's your turn for a Bible verse, okay? Ecclesiastes 3:21. Who knows if the human soul rises upward and if the soul of the animal goes down into the earth? That implicitly means it's saying that animals do have souls and that we don't know whether they're going up into the heavens or down into the earth. Okay? But also, there's no evidence that a soul even exists. What is a soul? Have you ever seen a soul? I've never, there's no such thing, most likely, right? So why are you bringing in some supernatural magic stuff as a justification to cut animals' heads off?
Okay, I was gonna ask something. Oh yeah, I just wanted to see if I can back myself up real quick.
Okay. There's just a lot of people listening and waiting in line and stuff, so you might want to do that research later and get back to us with it if you find it. But even still, like I said, there's no evidence that your God is real or that souls exist or that there is an afterlife. And even if there were, those are no good justifications for for needlessly stabbing gentle animals.
Okay, well, about the is God real part, this is Jesus, but Jesus is God, but so in the books of John and the apostles, they fought their testimony was that they saw Jesus resurrected.
Okay.
And so they could just reject that. They didn't actually see that, so because everybody was gonna persecute them against that, and they got killed for it.
Yeah.
So
So
if they didn't actually see it, then why would they say that they did?
sure. So we got to get back to animal rights, but like there's a lot of people who have claimed to see a lot of different supernatural things in a lot of different religions, and they were willing to die for their false beliefs, like Muslims or Jehovah's Witnesses or any pick a religious group, man. Okay, and they are just as confident in their beliefs as you are in yours, and yet you think they're wrong, and they think you're wrong, and I think you're both wrong. But either way, just be nice to the animals. And the point is like
Okay,
in the Garden of Eden. Again, I'm an atheist, but in your book, yes, it says many times in the Bible that you can kill animals. You can do animal sacrifices, which is disgusting. You can kill little baby animals for food or for clothing. I think it's ridiculous because God is supposed to be powerful. He could easily make plant foods for people. He could make clothing out of plants. Why do we need to sacrifice to animals to the gods? It's barbaric. But also, like, why would if God wanted you to eat meat, why would He create animals to feel pain and desire to stay alive? Why didn't He just make them like plants, where they don't have a brain or nerves, so they can't feel pain and they're not conscious and aware of their surroundings, and they don't value their lives? But instead, He made them just like dogs. He made pigs just like dogs. So we might as well be eating dogs and cats. That's another thing, is that your Bible says everything, everything that moves across the land, that crawls across the earth, and that breathes the breath of life shall be your food. It says that after Noah's flood. So that means that your God thinks it's okay for us to kill and eat dogs and cats, elephants, chimpanzees, monkeys, right? Even though we don't have to, we can shoot a family of monkeys in the face just so we can eat their dead bodies, because your God said so. Okay, but also it's funny because there's other parts in the Bible that are pro-vegan, right? So like in the Garden of Eden, before sin entered the world, before the fall of man, the Garden of Eden was vegan. There was no death. There was no pain. No suffering. No bloodshed. No humans eating animals. Even the lions were vegan in the Garden of Eden. Apparently, right? They weren't. They were eating plants.
Yeah.
So it says in Genesis 1:28 and 29, God says to Adam and Eve, "I have given you every seed-bearing fruit and every green plant, that they shall be your food, and the animals are to eat these plants as well, and the animals are to be your helpers." Right? And then in Isaiah, it says that in the end times, the wolf will lay down with the lamb, and they will neither harm nor destroy on all my holy mountain, for the earth will be filled with the knowledge of the Lord. And do you think there are any slaughterhouses in heaven? Right? Do you think there's animals screaming and heads being cut off and blood all over the floor in heaven?
No, because you probably don't need to eat, but...
Right. So if God's ideal in the Garden of Eden and heaven and all this, if God's ideal is nonviolence and peace and compassion, shouldn't we strive to fulfill that here on earth rather than just waiting for it in heaven?
Yes, but yeah, I see what you're coming from.
Yeah, and if God gives,
sorry,
it's okay. If God gives you the choice to be kind or to be cruel, why would you choose to be cruel?
Yeah, I see what you're. Yeah, okay. It's a nice talk.
Okay, cool. Go do a YouTube search for Christian vegans and see what Christian vegans have to say. Because you can be a vegan Christian, you can be a vegan Muslim, or you can also learn about atheism and skepticism and science and philosophy.
Yeah, I'll do that too.
Okay, cool. It's nice talking to you.
All right, nice talk. Bye.
I don't want to shut down this stage because there's 60 people in the audience, but...
Hi.
What up?
Hello. Hi. Wait. I just want to say one thing.
Yeah, so anytime that a troll says, I just want to say one thing, I know exactly what's coming next. Well, yeah, it's going to be some kind of troll. But that sounded like a pig in a gas chamber at first. So I don't know if you guys have ever heard a pig in a gas chamber. I might play the audio myself. Actually, it's a pretty good idea what that kid was doing. Maybe I should have let him keep going. Yeah, give me just a second here. We'll have a little experiment. Viewer discretion advised on what we're about to listen to. This is just audio. See, the problem is, like, I tell a lot of meat eaters, hey, you got to go watch some slaughterhouse videos and it'll help you make the connection. And they're like, I don't want to watch the slaughterhouse videos. It's traumatizing. It's hard to watch. I don't mind paying for it to happen. I'll pay these people to stab animals, but don't make me watch it. So I'm going to play the audio for you now so that you have to listen. But I guess you can turn it off, cover your ears, whatever you're going to do. But this is a pig in a gas chamber. Yep. They never did nothing to nobody.